was about to say the stream is down.
Okay.
Streams, it's no longer live. Now it's live. Wait.
No, it's still not live. It's live again now.
It's live now.
Okay, to all our viewers, give us 1 sec. We are figuring out some stream troubles. Okay, hopefully no more cut-ups. Hopefully things are fine right now. For right now, we're going to move into our predictions. We'll maybe talk about the featured match a little bit more afterwards. But first up, we do have our Ruby predictions for tonight. I think a lot of people, knowing how well the Kittens have been doing in the past, put them highly, but Lizzo, with full faith that he can diff Jake. Not shocked to see this. The one shocker I do see, Chief has Falcons winning over Spuds. That is certainly an option.
That's crazy.
Chief.
So I do think Falcons are gonna win, simply because one, you have Nightclaw as the support, which I think he's definitely a Sapphire level support in my opinion. And simply with Mima Sticks,
Nightclaw's on the Eagles.
Oh, sorry, not Nightclaw. And I think overall,
you talking about Ender Fridge?
and I think you have.
Were you looking at the Eagles lineup?
I think I had. I'm pretty sure I had Spuds as my prediction, but I can check again.
And I thought Lizzo was the loser.
Yeah, I had Spuds 2-0. Yeah, I had Spuds 2-0, I believe.
Oh, well. Okay, so we'll get that fixed real quick. So yeah, okay. I was a bit confused then because Falcons, I don't think have proven themselves. I think those are a little more interesting. Lucy, not an Eagles believer.
No. I got some speculations in the Spartans here. I think they can pull through. I don't know. The Eagles, I don't know. It's just hard to say. I think it's really close. I think a lot of these games are actually really close.
I would tend to agree. I mean, I'm only an Eagles believer because I'm terrified to have Psycho Ghost fail me again. I don't think my heart can handle it. But as for the actual
Also, the
matchup,
Spuds are playing
close.
against the Shrooms, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit of a misstep that we had in our sheet, but we're gonna assume that no one expects the Shrooms to win. Unfortunate. Maybe one of these days Mollywops will be able to carry. I don't know if today will be that day, sadly. But it looks like everyone sort of generally has their ideas. I wonder if Sapphire is a bit more contested on opinions. How about we swap over to those real quick? And while we do that, we can just talk a little bit about the big matchup that a lot of people are looking at tonight, which I'm probably the closest is the Ronin's Typhoon matchup, which a little bit more Ronin favored here, but those two, as far as the standings are concerned and as far as the general matchups, I think for a lot of people are firmly believing that that is probably the closest match. The others a bit more one-sided. Unfortunately, I don't think the Dragons have it to beat the Raiders, but if I eat my words, and the Dragons' redemption arc is here, and Cyclic manages to pull it off, I don't know. I will be a Dragons believer for the rest of the season, but I don't think it's happening. But upsets here, Lucy has both Typhoons and Honeycomb, so you are the upset believer, it seems.
Yeah. I honestly want to believe in all the underdogs. Like, I think Snakes could do it, but it's just, I mean, come on, it's just so far-fetched. Like, I really want to believe in Ray and his team. It looks good on paper, but the records are there. Typhoons and Honeycombs. Honeycombs, I think Rig is just insane. Honestly, in that 1-to-1, I was looking at the records. I think Honeycombs can pull through. Same thing with Typhoons. Simple as.
Simple as. Well, I can't fault you for thinking that. I feel like that's a pretty understandable way to feel about it. I think that all things considered, they aren't the craziest upsets. Especially Skeletons having a rough start. It felt last week like they were proven not quite as fraudulent as they could have been, but definitely some interesting options that we've seen them bring out, especially in drafts, that I think has gotten a lot of people a little bit more apprehensive to their abilities.
Typhoon's getting rolled. They're dog shit. As long as Cat and Chelsea don't just draft themselves to lose the game like they do typically weeks, because they like to play for fun every now and then. But I don't know if you peeped the banter chat. Typhoon players, they can't banter. So when they lose tonight, oof, I'm back on them in the banter chat. So there's that. And then Skeletons, I think Ida's going back to his old way. Like when it rains, remembers of the support just following him around the jungle.
Yeah, that was an interesting time. But I mean, hey, if it works out for them, if they get the carries off, you know, it could work. It could work. There's a world.
And then the Raiders get another week. Well, not another week, but this week they can actually get away with trolling draft, unlike they did last week, because they're playing with the bottom 2 team in the league. So.
Yeah, that last week's draft was interesting to see in hindsight. That was certainly an option that they chose, but things hopefully this week will be a lot more interesting. There are some one-sided matches, but I think there are going to be a lot of matches that are streamed on both personal channels and, of course, here, that I think will be a lot more interesting and hopefully a bit more fun to watch from a viewer perspective. I think personally the match tonight should be interesting. Do you think there's any picks to watch out for, Lizzo? Any leaks that we're gonna get, or keeping it close to your chest?
I'll start with lower division, the more important division. We got our matchup. I'm not gonna sit here and talk about our matchup. Spuds dominate Shrooms as they should. Astronauts dominate Falcons, but the Eagles Spartans. Let's just say I'm keeping my eyes on for that game because Nightclaw's showing up and Melee Van's dodging him, not playing this week, and let's just say this Eagles team is probably much better than a Jakeless Kittens that the Spartans faced last week. Just gonna say that. I'm pretty sure Memerstick was not playing this week too and subbed in for a better top laner. So if Fallen picks his dog shit in the jungle like he usually does, probably gonna get rolled. But then if you have Cheese's jungle again, I don't know. Cheese's already looked like a better jungler than Fallen. It ain't hard.
That's definitely one to watch. And the real question, the bot lane matchup tonight, Raikou and Death versus Lambo and Giggle. Do you have full faith in your team?
I mean, if you saw the last stream game, those Giggle performances, the flashing of W, the flash W on Maokai on the minions, the Poppy ulting the air. Let's just say Giggle don't shine when the lights are the brightest, and support's not his best role in my opinion. Neither is ADC, unironically, but and then their ADC, if he's playing shit like Smolder, like, yeah, he's not going to win against good teams like us. The shitter teams he'll roll over, but this team is all, like, 99% powered by Jake. We saw it last week because they lost to the shit Tartans. That's what I'm going to call them. So, yeah, I think the Spartans should definitely lose to these guys. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost. All depends if Nightclaw wants to ego again and pick the bad stuff he usually wants to pick, or he's going to want to show his old team who's boss.
Well, it's nice to hear. I like to hear the confidence, not just in yourself, but in your full team.
I was all over the place with that. I'm not gonna lie.
I think there's a little bit too much confidence here. Especially dissing Lambo too, that's wild, right?
No, Lambo would have got rolled if he went upper, and before God, you're much better than him, so don't get me wrong.
I think he's good,
is
but I'll pick that.
Lambo's okay. I just think his shampoo is dog shit. and his support is subpar.
I mean,
compared to a lot
okay,
of
if
the
we're
other
talking about
sports.
champ pools, Raiku's completely carried by crutch champions like Jinx and Caitlyn.
Oh,
Like those champions.
so Raiku's willing to blind Jinx and you're not. That's why you don't like Raikou.
No. Those champions are just handless. You just play around your team. You don't actually do anything
Oh,
yourself.
so you rather lose and show off their hands than win and be handless.
No. I'm just saying he needs crutch champions.
Well, he's
I have
picking
no
the best.
problem with picking Jinx.
He's picking Caitlyn his best champion and Jinx the best champion in lower division as ADC.
See, I have nothing against Raikou. I'm just saying he has crutch champions, and I won't take the Lambo Flame. That's all.
The only way we lose tonight, in 15 minutes, is if Raiku's dogs escape from their cages and he just goes AFK. It's the
I
only
can
way.
think of another way. It rhymes with Schmadman Schmiff. Thoughts?
Oh, there is some TTM members on the other team, but don't worry. We got plans for that too.
Big plans. I like to hear big plans. That makes me confident that hopefully things will at least be interesting, even if they end up being a stomp. I don't like the boring games.
Would you rather it be like a 0-0-0 at 20 minutes and it goes to 3 games like that, or it's 20-0 at 20 minutes and there's a stomp?
Quite honestly, the 20-0. I at least like to see some action. If I have to deal with nothing happening, I get a little sad.
Think
If
about
it's
it.
close-
If it's 0-0, right? This is in Ruby Division, so if it was, let's say that it was the Raiders playing the Skeletons, right? A 0-0 game, you could at least appreciate the complexities going into it. Ruby, it would be 0-0 because you're all a bunch of morons and don't know how to play the game.
You sound like one of those Sapphire shitters who go, "Oh, my solo queue rank is much higher than these dogs. I'm much better than them." My team would
True.
compete and maybe even make playoffs. Probably, actually, no, not maybe. Would make playoffs in Sapphire, and we would dumpster these dog shit teams like the Dragons and the Snakes easily. Just because just because an idiot captain drafted you in the upper division doesn't mean you're a better player than the lower division players. But all these guys, they don't know that, and they can't even beat their own competition. So they should worry about their own competition over the people down here.
I love the confidence. I love the talk. And quite honestly, when you're talking about dragon snakes, I feel like it's a little. I don't know if it's earned. I feel like that's a little punching at the bottom of the barrel here.
You gotta start at the bottom, work your way up. I'm not saying we're beating Skeletons or Raiders. Don't get me wrong. We're getting stomped by them, but we would definitely make playoffs.
So in your eyes, the skeletons are not fraudulent.
No, not at all. I know you should know also what that man, my boy, Itakana, can do when he's got a little fire behind him,
I do. The man can work some miracles, and look, if the man can win with Ixie on his team, I think that he can beat any allegations. Quite honestly.
You called Ixie bad? You called Ixie bad or something? Because
That's
as
crazy.
you saw from a week or two ago, he kind of stomped Enders, his ADC rival, in the bot lane.
I gotta defend my ADC here.
Yeah, but
easily,
now
like,
then
top
you're
ADC in the league
see
right
the
now.
problem with that logic. The line of that logic is that beating Ienders is a challenge.
I mean, you did beat him in VRD, but who hasn't beat Enders,
Yeah, no, that's my point. Who hasn't beat Ienders? I don't know if that's the measure of a good carry.
In my
like
opinion,
that's sort of-
Ixie's locked for second. He can't overcome Master. That may or may not because of Master's supporting cast, but Master's still the best ADC in my opinion.
You don't think the goat Verja moved up to Sapphire
is-
gonna?
Verja is. I'm sorry, Verja. Verja is very swingy with his view and opinions on me, back and forth. But I keep it honest. I think Verja is very overrated, and as you can see, how much better Ren is than Verja, because Ren's
Hold on. As
Ren's
the
over here
ADC
dumpstering in Verja's exact spot, and Verja needs Coach Pizza support in Ruby Division to be good and look good, while Ren's playing with Ender Fridge, Foot Stomper, and all these poops in the support role. Come on now.
That's crazy. As the ADC here in the call, that is a wild statement. to put
Think Ren is
that
better
much
than
higher
Verja?
I think Verja is better than Ren by far.
Hell no. I don't even think Verja thinks that at this point.
I would take
That
half of
that actually
Ruby's
might be a true
ADCs.
statement. Verge is pretty down on himself at the moment.
Okay,
Like,
I mean,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, also,
sorry.
look, I don't think anyone can be happy with their position when they get traded up to the Dragons. That
Yeah,
feels-
when you,
I'm taking a lot of ADCs though. I'm taking Florigado over Verja. I'm taking Humble over Verja. I'm taking Agency 6 over Verja. I'm taking Ren. I'm
okay,
taking
I think
Jake.
that's a little.
Liz,
Yeah,
are you
absolutely.
taking me over Verja?
No, I'd rather actually play
Okay,
myself
okay.
instead of you.
Okay, that's fair.
The role swap. Is
I also-
this the hint to the plot twist, the late
I mean-
season Lizzo bot lane role swap?
I mean, I will be in the bot lane in a draft league after I win in both these leagues in the jungle, so I get all 5 roles eventually. Because bot lane, I'm gonna be honest, I have no respect for ADCs because if you just play an APC and you have like a mid laner who can play AD,
Ren.
it's just better. Ren
Yes,
doesn't.
thank you.
It's just so much better. Like when I play Syndra APC, it's gonna have to be banned every game. Like
well, yeah,
Look, all I'm saying, bro-
especially in Ruby, it just oh my. Sorry, go on.
See, all my teams, everything I've seen, the fact that Seraphine bot is not pick ban in 90%
Exactly.
of leagues just shows how unserious people can be sometimes. That is not a balanced strategy in the slightest, and no one picks it. It is the most brain dead thing. You don't have to, like, if you actually want to win games, it's not fun. It's not interactive. You're going to be sitting down there doing nothing for 25 minutes. But if you actually want to win games, just start locking Seraphine bot lane, guys. It's so free.
it's so good, but there's 2 reasons why people don't do it. 1, they're an idiot because they think it's bad, or 2, they just ego it and say it's too boring for me. I can win on this stuff and this stuff and this stuff. I mean, obviously, Syndra APC is not the easiest thing. We saw Enders play it. So obviously, it's not the easiest thing you make it sound, unless Enders is just worse than we think.
I don't know. So I don't think Syndra's that crazy in bot lane. I think that's I think
That's just
failing-
that's just a me thing because I'm just gonna play Syndra, Veigar, Seraphine in APC role. If not, the Ziggs like
the,
not gonna-
the Ziggs, you kill people from a million range. People who refuse to understand that mages bot lane are good have not. They weren't around. They weren't around during the great 3,800 gold Infinity Edge when Heimer Fiddle was the best bot lane, and all of us we had to learn through blood, sweat, and tears how to play mages bot lane. Those were the dark times. Kids these days don't know how good they have it, where mages bot can be good and they can just be ignoring it.
90% of ADCs also suck at most of these ADCs. Like when I see someone trying to play Twitch, like bro, you're not splace
Twitch should
gliding.
never be touched in these leagues. Twitch should
Like
never
there's
be
just so
touched.
many
It's
ADCs that
like,
are just so hard to play.
It's not even a matter of hard to play. There's no reason to. ADC is the role that you have to have the least prio on in draft. Like you just give them. There's a reason you guys pick Jinx like every single game because that's all you need. Just give Jinx, Sivir, whatever. Seraphine is just a better Sivir. Just lock Seraphine. You'll have
I
11 CS
100%
per
agree with that
minute.
statement you just said.
100%. Thank you. I
11
got
CS
my.
per minute, and you just press R on your jungles like engage. That's it, and game wins.
ADC
Thank
and
you.
mid counter pick does not matter at all.
No, because like, what are you actually picking against Seraphine that's good into Seraphine? Like, oh my god, they're gonna go.
Another
What are they gonna do?
APC?
Smolder, bro? They're gonna lock Smolder. That's gonna be their answer.
They're just gonna play an
Like-
APC into the APC.
Yeah, and you don't lose that. You just sit bot and no one does anything for 35 minutes.
But then mid laners like
Oh,
the foe are just like screwed because they can't play AD mid laners. Or they
I
think
was
they
about
can.
to say that. I was about to say that too many people think they can play random stuff mid lane, Corky Varus, because they see it and they can't.
They gotta pick up the Tristana, the Yone.
Yep. You knocked when it rains. You saw like Quintic's old draft video. He made a big deal in VRD. The way you gotta win is keep your champ pool small, but not too small. And it is fearless, so you want to make it a little bigger than average. But these players who think they can play every champion in any role, like there's
it's just-
exceptions there's exceptions like Boat. Like Boat could do it, but he's just equally as bad at everything.
Yeah, but
Like,
like,
when I
and then there's me. I can actually play every role. You know, top lane you go Ornn, mid lane you go Ornn, jungle you go Ornn. It's so simple. I don't understand why people can't play these roles. It's just you just lock Ornn every game and then you let your team carry.
And then there's the people who like just watch pro play too much and they go, "Oh, this guy's playing Pantheon jungle. It must be really good." No, or this guy's
It's-
doing this.
People
Like-
first pick Pantheon because it's a 4-way flex, bro. You should know if you are if you are first picking Pantheon jungle every game and the other team knows it, you're gonna get turbo punished. Like you're going to get your teeth kicked in.
These Ruby games go past 35 minutes, and no one's that good at Pantheon. Besides my support. My support, he's cracked the Pantheon.
Okay, well, you think everyone on your team is cracked and you're beating kids.
Well, he got Pantheon banned
Anyway.
every game so far.
I mean, but ADC in general is just the most meta-reliant role. In Ruby, yes, you should just be picking Jinx Seraphine every game, realistically. Like, there's no reason to
Why
do
don't you?
anything. The games are long enough for that. Well, same thing as you listed, ego. Like, every ADC has ego. That is the most ego-inflated role in the game. The thing is, in Sapphire, though, I will say, like, you can't just perma-pick Seraphine. Like, you can. Everything that I've said, at least, is mostly for Ruby. Like, Seraphine Jinx is just auto-win in Ruby. But specifically,
I think you can permapick Seraphine in
you
Sapphire.
You can, but teams will, I think, very easily start to work around it. I've seen
Well,
what
I mean,
teams
they'll work
do. I
around it.
played
You just need to.
split.
You can't mindlessly pick it. You have to like actually have a strategy behind it. You can't just pick Seraphine and then throw it into 4 random champions.
Oh, of course. I guess the argument is there where, yeah, in Ruby you can mindlessly pick it, but in Sapphire you can't. Sure, true.
Still think you can
In
mindlessly pick
Sapphire,
it.
I've seen what they do to you if you don't, like, if you just pick random garbage that is just good in lane.
Caitlyn. Anyway, for right now, we are gonna have to wrap it up. We are 4 minutes to game time. Big shout out to all of our guests here for joining us. Thank you very much, and good luck in your games as you go over. Make sure to get some water, go to the bathroom, rest up your eyes for the games to come. And Lizzo, we'll be seeing you on the Rift in just a bit. Everyone else, good luck in your games tonight. Thank you all for watching Auto Talk, and stick around. We'll be right back with tonight's featured match. All right, welcome back everybody to the Blue Otter Draft League here for week 6. We are so happy to be back. Things are getting very exciting. We have a pretty exciting game today. The Kittens at the top, all the Imperials with all their trades, have been looking significantly better, all things considered. And Kittens, shown signs of weakness, so I don't expect this game to just be a rollover like many Kittens games in the past.
Yeah, no. Last week, the Kittens actually got upset by the Spartans now that they traded away the problem, which was, of course, Lizzo. The Spartans were finally able to pick up a victory over the it was a while before they got another win. They picked one up pretty bigly against the Kittens. Meanwhile, the Imperials, since picking up Lizzo from the Spartans, have been on a bit of a tear. It's been a while since their early week jitters, and now the team is looking pretty on fire this, at least in the past couple of weeks. But anything is possible in Ruby. And I fully expect with the kinds of players we have in the series that we are going to get, my prediction is a full 3-game series, 40 minutes per game. We're going to be here until midnight, because, there's going to be a 10-minute pause. And they're gonna fight over a ruling that'll take 15 minutes.
Yeah, we're not getting out of here even remotely quickly.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a humdinger of a match tonight. And in our first round of bans here, I know you were hyping up the big enchanters and particularly Seraphine as a big B1 pick. Will not be our big early pick here. It looks like the Jinx will get picked
instead.
up for... I mean, that's not too unusual. I feel like it's what we see in draft very frequently is 80 carries being traded B1, R1, and then you might see jungle. In this case, we see the blind Ahri picked up, which I suppose is fine, but... I imagine we're just going to see trading of roles. Yeah, the Mel will get picked up here. And what? I suppose now we just look for junglers and try and hide our supports, maybe?
Seems like what we're going for. The Tristana, clearly Imperials want to get aggressive. Already just going the Tristana Ahri very early on. Sort of signals exactly what they want to do. So I'm not surprised to see the Mel here sort of play at that range. A little bit more, a little bit better into the R rate, able to dodge out on those charms thanks to the W. So the level sort of like 1 and 2 is going to be where Ahri can really bully until Mel gets all her abilities. After that, it becomes a lot easier, and we're just going to see the Ornn locked in instead. I like this. Probably not a flex, probably just going to go top side. So this tells Imperials, like, you can either pick your top counter here, or we're going to start banning out the counters, make you pick into some uncomfortable situations. And I have a feeling Kittens are definitely gonna want to, with the knowledge of that aggression that's coming out, with the knowledge of what's going on, probably play more towards the passive game plan, or at least the anti-engage game plan. Would not be surprised to see like a mixed carry jungler and a Braum here. Especially already seeing that Poppy, knowing that we don't have a ton of hard engage left, just sort of playing for the range, right? Could definitely be the avenue that the Kittens decide to go for.
Yeah, absolutely. The Poppy is certainly a flexible pick. It's not guaranteed in one particular role. I think Fake Caution does play it though, so it is certainly a possibility to go top lane. And it looks like the Kittens are going to be banning away a couple of junglers, continuing to target Lizzo here. Imperials take out the Thresh, getting rid of one of Jinx's better partners that are still left available. Although I think every enchanter is still available, so plenty of options if they want to take that with Jinx.
Yeah, Braum Enchanter and like again like a carry jungler I think is like, or like you could honestly just go like a chiller, like more regular tanky jungler, I guess. If we end up seeing that, could also be an option they want to go for. We see the Draven, so already we see lots of engage coming from Imperials, right? They only want to go in. The Braum's available. Like at this point, I feel like you're either picking the Braum, you're picking a hard peeling enchanter. Realistically, my dream draft here is you go for the Morgana jungle and the Braum support, but Karthus jungle, okay, not quite
That's
the
actually,
same, but
I mean,
still, that is in the same vein.
If you squint your eyes, it's Morgana.
It's a similar idea. It's a similar idea.
Yeah, it's a mage jungle that has power clearing capabilities, and also gives some extra late game power to the Kittens composition, on top of what they already have. They stepped on the Braum for a second there, but it looks like they're considering that the Rakan is the better angle. I do really like, they'll lock in the Braum. I think Braum is very clearly the best pick in terms of supports here.
Almost got my exact call. Going for a different jungler. I just like the Morgana. I think the Black Shield would help, but the Karthus is much more of a power clear into ultimate style jungler, can help from more places on the map, and is not as weak when locked in the cage with Jarvan, right? It being able to pop your E, being able to get all that AoE damage around you, and even if you die, you're now this big roadblock that is doing damage to everyone in the cage, I think is very good. So probably better into the Jarvan specifically, but yeah, Imperials doubling and tripling down with the Pantheon. They are going big or going home. If the Imperials are not ahead by 15 minutes, the chances that they win this game are going from whatever percent it was down to like 1 in 100, right? You're just really not happy if you're not in a massive lead by that 15-minute mark.
Yeah, so much early game power is loaded into the Imperials comp here. Jarvan, Pantheon, Tristana, even the Ahri are all very good champions at finding one guy and killing them to death, which is very good in the early to mid stages of the game, especially around those early objectives, choke points around the Drakes, finding good angles off of that. Imperials have really strong pick potential, and it's going to come down to whether or not Lizzo can kind of control the jungle and maintain that pressure. But it is going to be pretty difficult to do that into Karthus, who, sure, you can absolutely very easily counter jungle him and obliterate this guy, but if Karthus is able to get rolling, it's very hard to stop him from just power clearing, and you aren't going to be able to, put a roadblock in front of him in that way. Same with the Jinx here. There is a lot of pressure in bot side, and what I imagine... I actually am unsure if the Pantheon... The Pantheon is
going support or top, right?
Okay.
I think
I feel
it's
like
going
it has
support.
to be support. Like, I can't
like
imagine Pantheon top lane is not the sauce into Ornn. I feel like you get destroyed and Ornn free scales on you.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's the Cleaver build. I think it's an option, but I don't think Poppy Tristana is your play into Jinx Braum. I think you just are completely sacrificing any potential you have at a Tristana early game if you decide to send the Poppy down there.
Yeah. You want that Tristana early game, and I think Pantheon really does enable that well. You just kind of blast away the wall and hope that you either destroy the Jinx because Braum is, I guess, asleep, or you just find a good angle to take out either the Jinx or the Braum if his shield is down. And either way, I think they'll be happy about that and playing aggressive in the early game. But like you said, once this game rolls over like 20, 25 minutes, it gets so much harder for the Imperials comp to win if they aren't like hilariously far ahead. And even if they are hilariously far ahead, once Jinx and Karthus reach those item break points and the Ornn items come in, that's a lot of gold on the table and a lot of power from this composition that will just suddenly appear at like 35 minutes. The Imperials, they're on the clock. They do not want this game to go the 45-minute banger-anger. They would like it to end preferably before 30 minutes. And honestly, I'm okay with that. If they want to try and end the game quickly, all the power to them. I don't know if that's possible, though. I feel like teams are too sloppy to really execute on that game plan, especially down here in Ruby. No offense to the Imperials. I'm sure you're great. But I don't know. I feel like the late game insurance is hard to pass. I would personally give it to Kittens.
Yeah, overall I feel like Kittens, just in general, there's just so much that feels like it could go wrong for Spartans that I don't know if it's a realistic path to victory for them. And I feel like there's just, like you said, just so much that could go wrong, and it only takes like one of those things actually going wrong for things to start really feeling bad.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see who's going to be feeling bad after we get into the game. So we're going to go do a quick spectator delay break. When we come back, we'll be in on the Rift 4 game, one of our series between the Kittens and the Imperials here in Blue Water Draft League Ruby. Stick around.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Water Draft League, where we are in game. Game number 1, Kittens versus the Imperials. Already, we're seeing a lot happen. Big invade from the Imperials. Not too shocking to see something of this magnitude happening early. You obviously want to see a lot of aggression coming out of this team, so I'm not too shocked to see Imperials getting a bit aggressive on the early game, especially going in, getting a ward onto Karthus's blue, which is really important just to sort of keep pace on that Karthus and potentially get a good invade off.
Yeah, you want to kind of... The goal of this game, if you are Lizzo, is to track Karthus and try and prevent Jake from accomplishing anything in this game. It's pretty difficult considering that Karthus can gank from anywhere on the map by clicking the R key, but, you know, it's not so bad. I think that, you know, Lizzo has plenty of capabilities to just make things happen. In the driver's seat on the Jarvan here, able to play aggressively. As long as the Imperials do not fall behind, Lizzo will be able to work with that, and hopefully they are able to stop Jake if they want to have any chance of victory here. Swedish is going to be moving up, going to try and, I guess, just get another ward onto the blue buff to make sure that they can guarantee for certain that Karthus is on that side of the map, although I'm pretty sure they saw him, so not entirely sure what the point of that ward is other than confirming 100% that Karthus is, in fact, taking the blue buff. Maybe they attempt to make a play on it. I don't know if that's advisable, although it looks like Swedish is... Okay. Yep, they're not going to be able to do anything with that, but they will know roughly where Karthus is in terms of pathing based on CS. So that's not nothing. Lizzo gonna be moving kind of in a strange path here. Looking like, yeah, they're gonna go for... Lizzo's gonna be looking for a counter jungling opportunity here. Although HP's not super advantageous for either of them, but we're gonna see a 3-man quad coming in. No vision here. Jake is dead, though. He does not flash out. He's going to flash here, but here comes Pantheon over the wall. That's going to be a dead Karthus.
Yeah, and the first blood going over to death on that Pantheon support. Huge lead to get early on, and this is what we were talking about, right? Needing to get this early invade. Stop this Karthus in the track is exactly what you need. And luckily, we're going to be able to do it. Going to take out the ward and make it out with all their lives. Completely unpunished. Feels very, very good. Also, getting Jake's flash means that they can go for repeat invades. If they get the priority, if they play their cards right, this could snowball pretty hard, and Jake needs to really consider where he's pathing, what he's going to be doing now that he doesn't have this flash.
Yeah, it is definitely not great for the Pantheon. Not for the Pantheon. Pantheon is actually great. You know, with the blue buff, we'll be able to bully VFD Lambo here. Cleanse blown.
Yeah, has to be a bit careful. Raikou getting stunned up as well as death, but Lambo with no more stuns has to be a bit careful. Jake gonna be ganking the top side, try and come back from that early invade. Tawny doesn't really have to worry. Vey gonna have to try and dodge out on some of these Skittles, but it's only gonna be a matter of time. Unfortunately, Tawny picking up the kill. I don't think that's what you want. I think you really wanted to give that over to Jake and help your Karthus recover.
Yeah, it's certainly not great that that goes over the Taunty there. I mean, you are slapping your knee in just pure joy that you're able to get something up in the top side off of that play. But yes, Jake missed one too many Skittles there, and it was Just not able to convert that into the kill. Taunty, just to be safe, picking that one up. I think Jake probably could have had Defile burning a little bit more there. Do not know if it would have been, I don't think it would have been enough damage, but at the very least, might have chipped that down there instead of the Orn auto, but in the end, a kill still picked up, and topside is nothing to sneeze at, although Taunty is certainly not looking great in terms of CS on the topside, with Vey Caution having a pretty dominant lead here, and Death now looking on the prowl again, looking to kind of just get vision out, track this Karthus down to death, and will find him.
Yeah, forcing him off the Raptors as well, getting a lot of damage down. You can see Jake desperately trying to come back, but not quite going to be able to do it. Giggle here now to back off Death, but Death doesn't really have to worry. Gonna try and bait them in. Lizzo waiting in the wing. Same with Swedish Pancakes, although it goes out just a bit too early. Gonna have to walk Jake back in. And you can already see how this is going, right? Giggle now has to sort of leash his jungler on the Raptors to make sure that he doesn't die. And Death still wants more. Gonna try and get a steal, but Jake's just gonna grab the smite, make sure that there is no steal to be had. Now Giggle, taking the dangerous path back through, has to be careful, potentially has to flash over the wall. Going for it, is going to get hit with the flag and drag and the charm. And the greed of man on full display here. Wanted to save that flash, but wasting it too late and doesn't even make it out.
Yeah, I think you just flashed the wall there. You forced the flag and drag, but then the rest of the, like, Swedish doesn't have flash, and it's just Lizzo over the wall with the flag and drag, so you're probably fine if you just flash that side wall there. Trying to hold the flash, just a bit too greedy, and does get punished for it. But I mean, this is kind of the trade you have to make here. I think if you are the Kittens, you kind of have to accept that, yeah, we're gonna lose a little bit. And Death, maybe losing more than just a little bit.
Yeah, definitely losing more than you could bargain for. Death going a bit too much, wanted to invade a little bit too much, and giving the kill over to Lambo, who on the Jinx is definitely where you want your gold, right? Lambo, Jake, probably the people you most want the gold on right now. Lukumi definitely is going to help, but probably going to take a little bit longer to scale and not be as impactful on the map for, you know, the next couple minutes. So getting the kills onto people who are going to have a bit more impact going into this mid game is going to help a lot, given that once you get to late game, it's not really going to matter who your gold's on, because Imperials just are going to have a harder time anyway. So making sure you can make the plays that you need to make, get as many trades as humanly possible is definitely what you want to see. And only 500 gold down now at the 7-minute mark. Imperials not doing a great job keeping up this snowball that they wanted to.
Yeah, not holding on to the snowball as effectively as they would have hoped. Although Raikou is pretty huge here since Death has been roaming. Level 6 on this Tristana. VFD Lambo also level 6 here. Both of these supports have just been not in bot lane due to ongoing circumstances. Lizzo currently on the Grubbins. We'll be taking all 3 of those, but that has opened up a window for Karthus here to begin the cleaning process. Going in counter jungling here, getting up a little bit of gold back in pocket, but Lizzo will go ahead and trade that back, clean up as much of that topside jungle. They will ping it out, but I don't know what they can do.
Yeah, the fight's already happening, but Giggle and that shield gonna be able to do a lot. Raikou using the buster shot to knock people back just to make sure that Death stays alive. Vey Caution has to be a bit careful, not respecting the damage from the Ord, who, as we know, is the tank Death Knight Paladin Assassin. Oh,
Bruiser, Wizard,
Warlock. Knock him back in.
Yeah! What, 2?
Two, and picks up Death in the bot lane, who didn't have any more resistances. So Jake goes from 0, 1, and 1 into picking up a double kill on the map and the feat of warfare right out from under Imperials' noses and putting them in the lead.
Yeah, turns out, Karthus' big skill there from Jake, hitting the R key. I wonder if they knew that they were going to kill Death with that. Because I know that they knew they were going to kill Vey Caution, but I don't know if they had info that Death was as low as they were. I mean, we knew that Death was low. I am kind of surprised that did kill, but that is a huge pickup for Jake. After such a struggle in the early game, the Imperials weren't able to keep weren't able to keep their boot on Jake's neck. And now he has evened up the CS and gotten 2 kills for himself, and that is huge for the Karthus here. Death gonna try and play in the enemy jungle, but at this point, with no Lizzo and no backup, nothing to really fear, although Jake is still gonna respect that, picking up the camp there. And unfortunately for Caution, Taunty has absolutely nothing to fear about this Poppy. The Buckler does a little bit of damage, but you know, this Poppy is opting into getting that Muramana pretty early on, which I believe is something Poppy's been picking up recently, but it certainly is nothing compared to Orin tank items, as Lizzo's looking for something Chompers will dissuade it.
Yep. Not gonna have to worry too much about what's going on right now. However, they does have to be careful. Jake flashing forward to get the Wall of Sorrow down, get the burn down, and Jake picking up another kill. And yeah, it's not looking too good for Imperials. You know, like we were saying in draft, anything goes wrong, and suddenly things look terrible. And a lot of things are going wrong for the Imperials right now.
Yeah, a lot of things going wrong for sure. Kumi and Jake looking for a little bit of a scuffle here, but not going to find anything out of it around the mid lane. Yeah, Jake currently 3-1 on the Karthus, has that Blackfire Torch now. Lizzo has started to fall behind, and that is not what you want to see as the Pantheon here. I had to check. Because I feel like I was gonna cry if I was wrong. It's Wall of Pain is the ability.
I thought it was, and I was like, oh wait, no, that's someone else's ability.
No, it's Wall of Pain. I knew, okay. I felt that, you know, the League of Legends Karthus is a boomer champion. I was like, it's certainly, they hadn't changed it from Wall of Pain, right? It's a Wall of Pain forever. I was gonna, if it wasn't Wall of Pain, I was gonna start crying. But
no, I
As if I know
I got it wrong.
Names.
I got it wrong.
Look,
I thought I was so convinced because I was like judging myself. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be Wall of Pain. I felt like there was something to do with Sorrow and like the lore or something, and I'm like that.
There is something to do. I think one of his voice lines includes Sorrow. I mean, Karthus has literally
I know he has
like
a number. Yeah.
He has like essays that he reads to you. He has like full poems. You know, he gives you a haiku while he's clearing jungle. It's very lovely.
I
really,
love the Karthus lore, which is that he was so enamored with death as a kid that he faked his death and showed up to his own funeral to see how people would react, which is just baller move right there, right? Showing up to your own funeral, just being like, interesting.
My man was a big fan of Tom Sawyer. It turns out, folks. That's a.
Get a little bit of an English teacher reference right there.
Yeah,
we have to get one. We have to get one.
My bad.
Anyways, we gotta get at least one. Everybody gets one.
Lambo, what are you doing?
Okay, Lambo going a bit too far forward, maybe? Things looking not
How are you alive?
Could have been significantly worse. You obviously don't like having to burn both of those sums, but the fact that he's still alive is nothing short of a miracle. Giggle's still alive as well. The sidesteps, the shield's gonna get knocked back with the Buster Shot just a little bit longer. Needs to put up the shield, puts the exhaust down. There is no way Karthus flashes forward, but it's gonna be Karthus with the ultimate. Karthus not even getting the kill. It was Giggle picking it up. Giggle in the 1v3 on the Braum. Best champion in the game, turning everything around.
Braum stays the best champion in the format.
Will ever not be the best? That's the real question. I don't even know if it's possible.
Yeah, I think it is impossible. You know, Braum is truly the greatest of all time. Yeah, really rough stuff from that dive there. Lambo certainly blundered by stepping up a little too far, didn't respect the full engage, and Death full sent it there with the flash, trying to just turbo lock down Lambo, but the HP was just so close to dead, and just not nearly enough damage, and Lambo was able to dodge out of the spear, walk away from that, but following that, Death goes for the Skyfall. Lambo too far away. Giggle does their job, and man, I don't know. I do not know. It is certainly unfortunate. At least they do pick up one, and I believe it went into Raiku's pocket, so that's not nothing. However, it is certainly could be better, could be worse, as Kumi's gonna get obliterated.
Yeah, Kumi, wrong place, wrong time. Not where you want it to be. Has to be careful, obviously, walking into that jungle, and especially if you don't have that W up or the flash. You're still in a mobile mage, right? Even as insane as the ability to just block everything is on Mel, once it runs out, you are still a mage with no movement ability and not a whole lot of ways to get out. Now the engage coming out, Giggle with a nice Glacial Fissure, and Jake just burning everyone with the damage. Raikou going forward. The charm does land on the Giggle, who's still alive. Now it's Raikou stunned before he can get over the wall. The rocket from downtown to get both of the Imperials bot lane. Now over the wall with the Blast Cone. Kumi trying to get the poke out, but Lizzo and Swedish Pancakes have successfully gotten it. Some damage goes through, but unless the Spirit Rush magically comes off cooldown, I don't think Kumi's gonna die here. Has to be careful. Walking back the aggressive way. Might get punished for it, but Lizzo messes up the flag and drag, and Kumi is gonna walk himself out. Just keep daring Swedish Pancakes to walk forward. Kittens take that fight. Beautiful rocket from Lambo.
Yeah, Lambo getting up a big rocket there. Picking up 2 big kills for themselves, and Jake's gonna clean that one up. Kumi likely gonna die here, unless Death doesn't have the damage. Jake is here.
Jake's here, they have to keep that in mind. Gonna be able to save his mid laner. Not being able to get that pick. Swedish Pancakes going down, absolutely massive for the Kittens right now as Jake comes back top lane with the Wall of Pain, lands a slow on Vey Caution. Tawny gonna try and look for something. Is going to be able to land the knockup. Vey does not have that steadfast presence. Going to step on the buckler. One more auto, and Tawny picks up another kill in the top side. Imperials already down 3,000 gold at the 15-minute mark when they wanted to be ahead by that much in the same difference.
Yeah, we were saying that the Imperials needed a pretty sizable lead once they hit 30 minutes if they wanted to have a chance of winning this game, and now they're at a deficit here at 17 minutes. Nearly 4,000 in favor of the Kittens, and the scaling is all in favor of the Kittens as well. At this point, the Imperials are kind of hoping that Raikou can come online just because Jinx had, well, just because Tristana does have some of those hyper carries capabilities, but she's certainly not quite the hyper carry that Jinx and Karthus are. And she does need those levels if she wants to try and compete with Karthus's Wall of Pain or Jinx's, control with the Chompers and rockets and all that. So it's going to be a levels game for Raikou here, as if they decide that it is Tristana win con. This Ornhorn's going to go down. We have got to fight.
We do. Already coming out. Big Glacial Fissure to cut off the rest of the team. Lizzo going to try and jump into that cage. As you can see, Jake is just way too far ahead, and he's jumping right into his death. Another dragon picked up for Kittens, as now they have the Mountain and the Hex Tech working towards that soul. And Imperials aren't even going to be able to get a consolation prize anywhere on the map. Vey, not strong enough to take out these towers. Swedish Pancakes isn't either, so honestly, at this point, Imperials, it feels like, despite not even being 20 minutes in, it kind of feels like the game is over. It feels like they're going to have a really, really hard time coming back. And if they do want to come back, how do they do it? Because as far as they're seeing, the scores, they don't look too bad, but considering the state of the game, where the team comps are, I just don't know if they have it in them. You really need your gold on Raikou right now. That's really your, I think, way out. Yeah,
I will say they do have a comp that is very good at killing targets, even at a deficit. So, they throw everything in the kitchen sink at VFD Lambo or Jake, and they definitely can get a kill. The problem is that if you throw everything at killing Jake, he's a ghost, and he will kill you back unless you disengage immediately. You throw everything at Lambo, and then Jake is still alive and kills you to death, or Lambo can just walk into no vision and die forever.
Yeah, we did forget about the mind control technology. That is always an option for the Imperials to use, albeit very frowned upon in the nature of the league.
Yeah, very much illegal. Certainly forbidden in several countries, but it doesn't matter.
No. Oh, the dodge though from Death. Not quite gonna kill VFD Lambo, but is gonna get the shutdown onto Jake. Being able to dodge out on that ultimate. Unfortunately, Swedish Pancakes will go down to it. Giggle now getting run down by Raikou. Just needs to jump back to Kumi though, as the Trist is gonna get rooted up, and it's just a matter of time before Kumi lands the nuke.
Yeah, Kumi blasts away Tristana there. Raikou thought they had a big pickup onto Giggle, but it was absolutely wasted there as, yeah. I will say it was very creative of Death to use the Grand Skyfall to try and stop the Karthus ulti. Was able to dodge it out, but it still ended up going down. And even though Death was able to dodge that damage, Karthus was able to return fire there, and it still completed, so picked up 2 for Karthus. And Raikou unable to trade anything back. Sometimes it's Tristana when you're 1 and 2 and you realize you're the win condition. You try play a little bit daring, and you do not win those. Tristana is not her, as it turns out. Giggle gonna be going up here, getting some vision. Otacon is up now, so that is something that both of these teams could be looking at. We will have to see... I'll see something. Giggle just kind of getting vision. Our supports here, big manly men with shields, looking to try and protect their friends in either aggressively or defensively. As Lambo is continuing to be very far up here, Giggle might have to sack themselves for those.
Yeah, Giggle put on the altar as a sacrificial lamb. It's gonna be fine so far, though. Gonna try and get the heal down. Raikou has to be careful.
Oh, good night. Good night.
Brings the call in. Oh, the locket. Is it gonna be enough? No.
Burn, baby, burn.
The burn item's too strong, though. Locking them in the cage, though. Swedish Pancakes being able to dodge around with that Spirit Rush. 2 kills down so far. And a big shutdown onto Lambo is gonna help. Kumi coming in with the move speed. Goes in onto the Ahri, but Ahri still has rushes the Spirit Charge. The Swedish Pancakes makes it out alive. See,
yeah,
charging the Pantheon passive. Maybe want something, but...
Thinking about it, Kumi is stepping up here. We see an opportunity.
Flash forward to dodge out. Going in, though. Gonna be able to flash, and Jake's already there waiting in the wings. Lizzo gonna burn down. And with one more root, Kumi's gonna pick up another kill. Every time they try to do something, it just feels like Kittens are ready to retaliate, and Imperials, you know, we were saying, you know, Kittens have shown blood, they've shown weakness, but right now, I'm not seeing any of it.
Yeah, what the Imperials did there is a classic League of Legends blunder. It happens to all the best of us. No matter the division you're in, it's called lacking object permanence. Folks, if something is on the map, and you can't see it anymore, it's still there. All right? Even if you can't see it, it's still somewhere on the map. So, you know, when Karthus steps into the fog of war, you know, even though you can't see him, he's still there. You know, just because you can't see him. And I know the Imperials forgot that there as they went for the Kumi. I do like the idea of that, but the misexecution, once the charm misses, I think it's just over. Kumi has too much safety tools, as Giggle might be in a bit of danger, or maybe Lizzo is.
Yeah, we'll have to see who ends up being the actual danger.
Tanti's fine.
Right, yeah, right now they're both walking out, though. It doesn't look like there's any real danger for either team right now. Jake, gonna use that ultimate just to get big poke before the fight. And Raikou is 0 HP. Swedish getting low. Waiting out the steadfast presence. Now Lizzo on the engage, however on the backside, Death already popping low. It's going to be Jake the first one to go down, who's going to try and get that burn off. VFD Lambo now finally excited, but the rocket's going to go wide. So far, only 1 kill. 2 though, going for it. Swedish Pancake's going to be able to use the ult. And Raikou all the way in the back. Now Kumi with the double kill. They caution the only one still around this pit as Death takes the back. And it's going to be Kittens coming out on top once again.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about Karthus is that he's a super flexible champion in once you get to this point in the game, you can either save his ulti for cleaning up a fight, or you can use it at the start of the fight and win it before it even starts. And we saw that side of Karthus ulti there, because just the Requiem was enough to remove Raikou from the fight. Raikou tried to go in, get some damage, but jumping in there, all that really did was allow VFD Lambo to get excited. I think that, honestly, that was not the worst fight for the Imperials. They were able to kill Jake early and sort of negate that Karthus power. They kept themselves away from VFD Lambo for as long as possible and kited themselves back, but they didn't really get anything out of it. So while it wasn't a catastrophic, disastrous failure, in the end, it's not really a whole lot of anything. And unfortunately, as we now reach 25 minutes, the Kittens still maintaining a 5k gold lead. We're waiting for the scaling Pantheon here, I suppose. Pantheon scales, right, folks?
Yeah.
Pantheon scales?
I'm curious if we
anyone?
can get... Oh, well, first I'll be curious after this. Kumi getting caught out in the top side. And another shutdown for Swedish Pancakes, who has been on tear with this Storm Surge, being able to actually pick up kills and get the picks when they're open. Oh, got to be careful not to chase Death, though. Swedish Pancakes, they can see him. Wondering if VFD Lambo is far back enough. Landing a lot of rockets. The damage is big, and Jake is there. Death getting very low. Is going to use the shield to block out that Super Mega Death rocket. It's not going to go down.
Yeah, you know what you
However,
can't block?
did forget about the second
Bye-bye.
global ultimate.
Yeah, it is, I think this is, it's the power of the Jinx Karthus is, one global ultimate doesn't go through. You got another one in pocket to finish the job. And Vacaution will be finished up here as well in the mid lane as Jake just goes on a little bit of a drive-by here. Upgraded Ornn items, upgraded booties, almost 4 items on this Karthus, 10 Darksteel stacks. Karthus is, Jake is huge. He's massive.
Yeah, just absolutely killing it right now on a tear. And what I was curious about is the first strike gold on the Karthus, who has used it a lot on 5 members and is very far ahead. I'm wondering after the Baron, after the resets, if we're going to be able to get a check on that. Lizzo does see the Warder of the Wall, knows that Baron is getting started. Needs to look for a vision, though. Now has the flag, the wards come down.
Deal.
Lizzo going to try and look
Big
for a
steal.
way in, going to use the Blast Cone. You can see they're waiting on it.
It's a
Baron
flip.
getting very low.
It's
Jake's going to be the one that picks up the smite. And that might all just spell the end. Giggle going to turn back. Raikou trying to suicide just to desperately get a pick. Swedish over the wall, not going to be able to land anything. The Super Mega Death Rocket not quite going to be able to land the kill. And Jake does not have the ultimate up just yet. But it will be the rest of the Kittens walking out. Should be safely. I don't think they... Oh, maybe can try and get some interrupts. Dashes into the middle of 3 people. Will take out VF Lambo.
Good enough. We got one.
Good enough.
We got one, baby.
Mission success. And now I'm wondering if we can get our production to give us a check on the Karthus first strike. That is what I'm really curious about, because that Karthus has been farming gold with it.
Yeah, all right, we're taking...
I gotta check the runes, right?
Yeah, you have to click the arrow
by the movement
next to
speed.
next to the shoe.
Yeah. Get that. How much gold?
11 is I think that's, I don't know if that's damage or gold. You might have to hover it.
I think that's gold. I think that's like 1,200 gold.
It's
right?
1166.
11. Oh my god. Okay, that's pretty damn good. That's a full loss chapter. Just off the first strike gold, and that's not even counting all the damage that you've gotten from it.
Look, I'm a first strike enjoyer. It's my favorite rune to take when I'm having a funny game. It's my favorite Maokai option when you completely disrespect the people you are playing against. And yeah, I mean, Karthus making bank off of the first strike here. Not too surprising, all things considered. If you're picking up the first strike, your goal is to try and just get as much gold here, as opposed to if you go for the Dark Harvest, that's more of an aggressive option, trying to just get huge damage. Karthus aware that scaling is the name of the game here, and does in fact do that, as Kumi will be, I guess, annoyed by Lizzo, but not really aggressed on by the J4 here, as Kittens have opted into not caring about this Drake and just going for a mid-turret. Requiem coming down. We're going to see a fight. It's not going to be pretty.
Yep, already the damage coming through, and Raiku's going to be the first one to fall once again. The smite comes through, and Jake picks up the soul, as 2 are already down, and Swedish Pancakes is on the run. Caution isn't even there. They're forced to be on mid lane duty, taking care of the supers to make sure that it doesn't get run down. However, with all the team dead, I'm just wondering, Kittens have the base already dead, right? Like, I don't know. Do they have the Oracle? Or are they seeing the future? It looks like it is right now. You already have the minions chasing it down. You have so much range, so much siege potential. And I don't know. It's, could go any number of ways. I think the big thing right now is if they manage to get a huge knockback, a huge fight off of that, that's not a projectile, so Kumi's gonna walk in and unfortunately get knocked back when he didn't have to. Lambo going very low, Bait Caution flashing forward. They're gonna be able to land the first kill as Swoosh Pancakes picks it up. And that might have forced them back, so Imperials hanging on for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, Imperials are able to hold it down for just a little bit longer. This 10k, this almost 10k gold lead. Okay, Grand Skyfall's gonna keep the fight going.
Jeff, I wonder if they really needed to.
They are losing the game. They have lost the game faster. That was actually an optimal strategy to lose the game.
I was wondering what Death was doing, because I'm like, can't they just turn and kill? And I guess they wanted to just mind control Lizzo into going forward and flashing before they turned.
You missed the flag and drag. We saw Lizzo, like, degrade. Degrade this entire series. Like, it's just, like, you know, like an isotope just radioactively dissolving itself. The half-life of Lizzo this game is very small.
Same with Raikou. Raikou, it feels like they tried early and then they couldn't catch a break. It felt like they were trying to play like Zed after a certain point where they're just like, we need to kill Lambo so desperately, I need to just suicide on Tristana to maybe find something.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Jinx was merely a distraction for the real damage dealer, who was, of course, the Karthus, who went from homeless to the other guy. Jake this game was both sides of the beat it chick meme. You know, he was getting bullied in high school, and then he ends up with, you know, millions of dollars in a CEO position by the end of the game. You know, saying goodbye to Lizzo Mukbang. You know, beat it Pantheon, beat it J4. I don't know where that was going. It's over now though, so we can move on. Yeah, that was, you know, the team that we thought was going to win in 32 minutes did in fact win in 32 minutes, right? The team that was going to win fast that won, right?
Surely, no. Yeah, Imperials just getting swept from minute 7 was the turnaround. So you were hoping, you know, the snowball would last maybe a little bit longer, but that was just complete and utter domination in every aspect. Raikou, buddy, 1-8 on the Tristana. You have almost as much damage as the Braum. That is not a great showing. Your Poppy has the most damage on your team. Like that's gotta be a bad spot to be in.
Yeah, it is. It's something. I feel like we definitely saw Raikou going absolutely downhill this entire series. You know, once Raikou saw that the team was starting to fall behind, made too many aggressive plays, and Tristana just is not that champion. You aren't able to do that if you do not have any kind of early advantage. Like, Tristana can take a little advantage and convert that into something massive, but Raikou was on fairly even playing field with VFD Lambo and was certainly behind Jake in terms of tempo. So unfortunately, all that happened was Raikou would jump in, do no damage, and die instantly. So it really was just like the absolute worst possible scenario for this comp played out exactly as we kind of thought it might play out. If the comp went downhill, it just went downhill way faster than I think either of us expected.
Yeah, we were, you know, thinking, you know, okay, the turnaround is probably going to be second or third drag around the, you know, 13 to 16 minute. No, minute 7, Jake got that kill topside, that big ultimate that picked up the feat of warfare. I think that was really what swung the game super far, right? Getting the double kill, claiming the feats, end the shutdown at the same time, and then just being able to snowball that into a finished Blackfire Torch, just running through the jungle, and Jake was just so far ahead at that point that it felt impossible to catch up.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see if the Imperials can continue. Maybe they're scaling into game 2 here. But the Kittens are pretty comfortably in a lead right now, and we'll see what they can do with that as we go into game 2. But for right now, we're going to go to a break as our team set up for that draft. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Alrighty, welcome back in draft game 2. Some adaptations that we might see be made. Bans looking the same, but obviously Fearless, you're never going to get quite the exact same draft as you got the first time coming around. So already, unfortunately, no more of the Karthus, no more Jinx, B1 that we're going to see. Braum as well out, lots of these priority picks. But the Arya and Jarvan are also all out of there. The Poppy as well, which is going to open up some interesting angles to engage compositions for maybe the Kittens to run this time around.
Yeah, Poppy is one of those champions that really puts a damper on certain kinds of comps. And with her out of commission, that does open up a window for the Kittens Kittens or Imperials both to consider some comps that otherwise would be kind of horrible into Poppy. But it also makes the Zac ban even more of a high priority for the Kittens, because one of the only champions that can really contest the Zac engage is that Poppy. So now this champion you were already going to ban away from Lizzo anyways is a guaranteed ban here in game 2. As the Hui will get picked up, something to note is that the Imperials opted to stay on red side here, feeling like they have a stronger advantage on this side of the map. As yeah, the Hui will get locked in. I think that's a fine blind. I know Swedish likes the champion, so definitely a comfort pick. Continuing the comfort train, it's not quite Caitlyn, but Raikou does enjoy playing this Jhin, has played it a bit in the past. More of a utility AD carry, not looking to really hyper carry a game, but that does give Kittens the ability to go into Xayah Rakan here, that superpower lore combo, the lore duo, as it were. And I mean, both of these players play both of these champions, so it's something that the Imperials are going to likely maybe struggle with unless they pick a good partner for the Jhin, because I don't think Jhin really likes playing into either Xayah or especially the Rakan, so we'll have to see who they pair with the Jhin here. Meanwhile, I think Kittens probably just pick up their mid lane and respond to that. Yeah, and it looks like they will go for the Galio.
All right, so Kittens already looking like they have this classic, the Xayah can peel herself, but you already have a lot of engage with the Rakan, the backup from the Galio, so clearly going for a bit more of an engage. Obviously, the Imperials have a bit more range this time around, going for that sort of artillery combo with the Jhin and the Hui, and the Lilia picked up already into the Galio is definitely an interesting option. I see why, right? Obviously, getting the sleep and then being able to open up with both the Hui and the Jhin from a very long distance away is advisable. I'm just wondering how exactly they plan on rounding this out. Obviously, the Leona, is a classic choice for the Jhin, going to pair really well with the Hui and the Lilia as well, to give the Lilia an easier way in and a way to do it. So I'd be pretty surprised to not see a Leona ban, and even more surprised if we don't see it banned and we don't see it picked up. I feel like that's a little bit of a mistake if that's what ends up happening.
Yeah, I would certainly agree. Leona is, like you said, a fantastic pairing. The Nautilus isn't so bad either. I also think Nautilus is okay under Rakan if they do not end up going for the Leona or the Leona gets banned away. But yeah, the Imperials, I imagine, are going to target a couple of junglers that would really put pressure onto the Lilia. Taking out the Diana here, looking to keep Jake off of both comfort and powerful carry jungling options. And yeah, the Leona will get banned away, like you said. Looking like they're going to at least hover it and consider it. Like you had suggested, the Leona was a good option to ban away here. So now I'm just wondering what the Imperials will decide to pick up for their support. And maybe they definitely don't wait for support R5. They've had plenty of time to think about it. Personally, I think you can probably just go for Nautilus here. It's not ideal, but it works.
Yeah, I mean, there are options, but yeah, it's like I said, banning Leona, not just because it's a good Jhin pairing, but it gives so many ways for that Lilia to get in. It gives so many better opportunities for her. And the Rel is certainly a good engage option, right? A bit slower. You don't sort of have the range of that solar flare, but it's going to be a lot better, especially if you have a bit more of that team fighting composition to go for. You obviously have the Hui already locked in, the Lilia, so a lot of that AoE that you'd love to see. The Kindred, I think we could see. It makes a lot of sense already having the Galio and the Rakan locked in. So going for a more carry-oriented jungler wouldn't be that surprising here. The Nocturne could be significantly worse. I can see you cringing. I don't think it's that bad here, all things considered, right? You already have the Rakan, you have the Galio, and also, like, if you're playing into Hui and Jhin, I feel like this is, like, a better Nocturne spot than the usual, right?
Yeah,
The Kindred would have been fun, but I feel like Nocturne's, like, a safe option here, all things
yeah,
considered.
and I will agree with that because of the range of the Hui and the Jhin. Nocturne actually does make sense because neither of these champions have immediate response to you. The Rel, if Rel burns her dive into your team, you have easy pickings to go onto the backside, and it kind of forces Rel to play a bit defensively because Hui and Jhin are so easy to pick off if you are the Nocturne here. I'm one of Nocturne's biggest haters, but the more I think about it, yeah, this honestly was actually a really good Nocturne angle because it forces the Imperials to play a different game than they want to play if they don't want to just lose their carries instantly. And the Camille sort of indicates that they do want to go for that another similar kind of hardcore dive with the backup from the Hui and the Jhin, and that again opens up the window for Nocturne to go in on the backline if he's got vision to do so. You're going to be less of a primary engage and more of a counter engage on the Nocturne, but that also opens up a great window. Rakan is able to dive pretty deep, follow Nocturne in. Galio, of course, is fantastic with Nocturne because Nocturne sets up really well for the Demacian Justice. That's Garen's ulti. The Justice, whatever his thing is, where he crashes down, whatever that ability, his ultimate.
Justice Punch is the E. His ultimate is Hero's Entrance.
Hero's Entrance. Okay, thank you. His Hero's Entrance, that pairs really well with Nocturne ulti. I do have my questions about where Gragas fits into all of this, but I imagine it's just kind of a stable blind pick that Taunty is comfortable with. I'm not super enthusiastic about the Gragas, but it's fine. I guess it's fine. It's fine enough.
Yeah. Could be worse, honestly. But that's sort of how I'm feeling. It's fine, all things considered. Nothing too crazy, but it could be a lot better. I think the Camille would have worked very well, but that is Imperial's going to go for that on the R5 instead. Probably just not only into the Gragas, but I feel like that's going to give them a lot of that sort of TP threat. Being able to TP to those flank wards, being able to sort of engage from the side, especially with the Lilia with the Rel, as well as just being able to put pressure in that side lanes if you don't want a team fight.
Yeah. So I think both of these teams are looking to play very interesting compositions. Kittens absolutely both of these teams kind of looking to dive pretty hard into their opposition here. But Imperials having a bit more stratification in terms of where their damage is located. Lilia more in the front with the Camille, and then Hui and Jhin on the back, whereas Kittens are very much loaded. They've loaded their damage into Xayah because Gragas and Nocturne, the damage from those two champions does not really scale into the later stages of the game. Nocturne can still kill squishies in the late game, but that's really about it. So I don't know. As Nocturne's biggest hater, I have to say I do like the Imperials composition. This is certainly not the worst Nocturne angle. In fact, I'd say it's one of the best ones you could get, but Nocturne is just kind of a bad... I do not like Nocturne. I always see Nocturne lose more than win. So I'm not going to trust him, even though Jake did well last game. I like the varied positions of damage that Imperials have, and I think Kittens are weighing way too much onto the Xayah here, who I don't know if she'll be able to really pull it out in the later stages.
Yeah, obviously with the dive threat, it's nice, but all things considered, it's very similar to the Imperials. Not quite the same early game focus, but a very one-track mind, right? If your initial dive fails, you have a very hard time recovering team fights.
Yeah, well, we will have to see who can recover these team fights, who's going to pick them up, who's going to put them down, and who is going to look to slam it. Kittens could take home the series 2-0 and position themselves. Continue. I believe they will stay in. Yeah, they will take and hold on to first alongside the Spuds. Whereas the Imperials, who are fighting for that first place spot, will end up dropping down as a result of losing this game. So we'll have to see if the Imperials can turn it back around and go for a reverse sweep, or if the Kittens will clean up and take us home early. Still have to see what happens once we get into game. We're going to go to a quick break for spectator delay. When we come back, we'll be in on the Rift. So stick around. We'll be there shortly.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Otter Draft League. We are in game on the Rift for our second match. We have the Kittens with a very aggressive divey composition backed up by Isaiah versus Imperials, which a bit more well-rounded, but with a very similar sort of divey, but not as quiet, right? They want to hard engage and then use their backup of these really long-range carries. So rather than the entire team going in, you just have a couple people, and then you have a super long-range backup plan that's sort of firing out the artillery while all of that's going on.
Yeah, both of our teams here have definitely spec'd aggro this game, but the side of the Imperials have gone for a bit more balanced with their aggro composition, allowing for a little bit more variety in the kinds of game states they can play later on. But it certainly is not going to be an easy victory for either team here, especially considering last game was certainly quite the upset. In considering the compositions we were looking at, we had assumed the Imperials were just going to get a guaranteed lead up at 20 minutes, and they were actually not in a lead. They had a deficit, in fact, and the Kittens sort of just rolled over them from there. But now the Roomba is on the other side of the rift with Lizzo on the Lilia, and Jake is going to be the one looking for more of these early aggressive ganks once level 6 is obtained, at least. So it's certainly going to be interesting to see what our two junglers are going to be looking to do here. Like last game, I think that a lot of this game is going to be loaded into the kinds of decisions these junglers are going to be making, what lanes to decide to influence, put their pressure behind. I think as it stands, they're kind of even. Lambo and Giggle actually going to be losing the level 2 race there. Losing a bit of priority as Kumi certainly going to take pressure from just getting auto-attacked for an eternity. It's the Galio lifestyle, but once you pick up a few levels, it's not so bad. You can start actually fighting back with your Q poke into threatening lethal damage with Justice Punch into the taunt. So, Swedish will have a little bit of free reign right now, but, once Kumi gets some levels in pocket, it won't be so bad. Top side, I honestly don't know how that matchup goes. I assume it's Camille favored because Camille just kind of does that to champions like Gragas, but Taunty played really well last game on the Ornn into the Poppy, so I would not be surprised to see Taunty's got something up his sleeves that we are just not aware of.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see Taunty pull out some insane barrels. Obviously, you got the Bow special, the full combo into the tower. Could be very interesting to watch. Kumi going a bit too aggressive here into Swedish, not landing the Justice Punch, and don't really know if that was the play. Maybe preparing for a gank, but the Nocturne's not quite around here just yet, and being cut off has to be quite a bit careful. You can see Lizzo also roaming down here. Both junglers want a piece of the action in the mid lane, as both these mid laners put themselves in a bit of danger. Kumi getting very low, and Swedish already getting first blood, not respecting it, and it was the Aerie that actually picked up the kill. You can see now Jake trying to hold out mid. Maybe secure a little bit of something for his mid laner, but it's just a matter of time. Such Pancakes gonna try and force Jake back.
Yeah, I think if that Q lands, you can try to hard commit on Jake. You've got the movement speed too. You at least get flash. You got an engage.
Yep. Coming forward, Death looking for it. Now Jake finally here in the bot side. It was Raikou forced to flash out, so gonna possibly be a regank angle, but right now they're just playing it a bit safe and don't want to push back in.
Yeah, we'll say that was a lot of damage into the Jhin here, so bot lane currently favoring the side of the Kittens, at least until Lilia decides to visit. Nocturne did have to reset there. Junglers are both pretty even in farm. Lilia's going to be pathing towards bot side, as there are going to be camps up there, and that is the lane that is in the need of a little bit of assistance in terms of pushing back in favor. But Lambo might just get a kill.
Yeah, Lambo going in needs to find a little bit more damage in the flash forward with the lethal tempo. Going to be able to pick it up. Now Lizzo's back here, but needs one more blade caller. Not quite going to land it, unfortunately. Raikou not respecting the feathers, and it's a double kill for VFD Lambo in the bot side on this Xayah. And Lizzo's not going to be able to come around to pick up anything extra. huge kills for the Kittens.
Yeah, the Kittens composition here absolutely needs this Xayah to get a head, and this is more than a head. It's a head and a hat attached to it for sure, as Lambo picking up 2 kills here in the bot side. Getting that jump onto death was fantastic from Giggle, almost a guaranteed defeat. We do have an engage.
Yep, coming forward. Jake has to be careful. Kumi here
Ignite.
potentially to back it up. Maybe has the taunt, but he's already used it. Lizzo flashing forward. Gonna need a tower shot, but it's gonna be Jake that goes down with no returned kills, giving Imperials full priority on that dragon.
Yeah, however, that was 2 flashes and an ignite burned, and Kumi actually did not burn flash there. Well, Kumi didn't burn flash. Jake did have to burn the flash, but overall, it was an advantage for the Imperials, especially because they get this Drake here. And I think that's the big prize for them right now, especially because it's going to force Nocturne up to the Grubbins, and they will know where he is and kind of be able to sort of figure out, what where he's going to be going. If he gets his ulti, he's could be looking at mid or top now. So they at least kind of have an idea of what side of the map Jake is returning to. And getting this early Drake is certainly nothing to sneeze at. In the top side, though, we do have Vaycaution picking up a slow but steady lead into Taunty here, just in terms of CS. But Taunty not doing so bad, at least trading back the damage. Lizzo gonna scout out Jake with that vision plant. We'll know that this Nocturne is now on the clear, still level 5. We'll pick up level 6 pretty quickly. I didn't quite catch the EXP, so I don't know where Jake is in terms of how close he is to 5. If I had to guess, he's probably still maybe a camp or 2. Yeah, he'll get it off of this camp. So we will have the Paranoia right here, and we can absolutely look to use it because Swedish does not have flash, and Kumi sets up really well for these Nocturne ganks. If Swedish steps up too far and Jake is in range, that is a dead way. So they're going to have to respect that if they don't want to just randomly die here. Speaking of randomly dying, Taunty looking a little worse for wear, but Lizzo not able to convert that.
Yeah, not able to convert it into anything yet. We are going to see the ult come out in mid lane, though. Unfortunately, Kumi not going to be able to land the taunt, was a little bit short on it, and Swedish is going to be able to make it out, and Jake not being able to get anything off that first ultimate is a big deal. That's going to set them behind by a pretty substantial margin. Also doesn't know that Death is over the wall here. Going to be able to get the knockback in. A lot of damage going through, but Swedish wasn't able to land the ultimate. Swedish Pancakes now has the ultimate. One more Severing Bolt, not going to be able to land. Swedish Pancakes misses 2 of them, and it does mean that Jake will be able to get himself out to safety. And some plates on the bot side for Lambo and Giggle.
Yeah, Lambo and Giggle taking a little bit of a side prize here, just looking for those plates, as Giggle gonna just try and force them to take a not direct path into the lane. Lambo maintaining position here. They aren't gonna pick up that next plate, as Death will speed in a little aggressively. But yeah, I think in the mid lane there, it is absolutely tragic as Nocturne to not... You want every ulti to convert into something, especially in the early game, when you are still looking to, if you have Red Tree, which presumably we do have Ultimate Hunter, that is something huge that we need to be looking for. Great movement from Taunty there, by the way. If you've got Ultimate Hunter on the Nocturne, you want to get as many stacks as possible early on, and that means every ultimate needs to do something. If you don't get a kill or an assist, it is a wasted cooldown, and you end up very far behind, because that's your one real advantage you have on Nocturne over these better power-clearing junglers like the Lilia. I wonder what happened to really... the taunt knock-up definitely just kind of went wide, but I do wonder if we could have potentially done that better, as Lizzo's looking for something top.
Yeah, and not quite able to land the kill onto Vay Caution as Lizzo's now here to back up Taunty. Giggle gonna be able to land the charm, potentially going in. The Ignite and the Q landing.
Giggle?
It's gonna be Giggle picking up the feat of Warfare instead. Lizzo being forced to flash out now. Death with a big crash down onto 3, and Raiku's finally up here to back up the rest of his team, but Death going so far forward, and Giggle absolutely carrying these top lane fights with some huge knockups. Kumi goes back in to try and land a little bit of damage, and now the curtain's opened up. Tawny has to make his way out, will be able to, and with the rest being able to back themselves out as well. No more kills to be found on the top side, but Giggle, what a fight up in that top side. Not only getting himself the kill, picking up the feat of Warfare for his team, but also making sure that the Imperials were able to get nothing on the back end.
Yeah, that was incredible stuff from Giggle there in terms of just fighting really efficiently on the Rakan. You know, getting that pickup, really denying any of those engages, flipping them back around. Swedish is dying.
Something we talked about, you know, the object permanence. Nice triple sleep from Lizzo, but going back in and giving a triple kill over to Jake. Does object permanence apply if you can see the things right in front of you?
Maybe they close their they put their hands over they put their hands over their eyes. It's like, I'm not here anymore. It's like, oh man, they're gone.
See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Except in this case, it was see no evil, see no evil, see no evil.
Yeah, Jake took Lizzo's nose, and my man just had a panic attack. He's like, "Where's my nose?" It's just really unfortunate there for the side of the Imperials, as Jake once again kind of stumbles into 3 kills that were arguably undeserved here in the early game. Just off of the Imperials playing a bit too aggressively in getting punished as a result. So definitely huge for the Kittens. Cannot deny that. However, the Imperials will still pick up this second Drake here. Giggle's going to be in the bot side. We'll be aware this is happening, but there really is no backup unless Galio is around, but the Drake is way too low. I think Lizzo's going to get this, but can they get out?
Yeah, this is really cool. You can already see the fight coming through. Nice another knockup. A big
Nocturne.
Feather Storm from Lambo, and now Nocturne's there on the backside. It's Jake rushing forward.
Giggle.
Eagle trying to give this one over.
Gonna
be able to, a little bit of a zoning W, not quite able to land that last kill. Still another big fight, and Giggle on the Rakan has been instrumental for the Kittens this game. Oh, Raikou. Oh, you poor child, not again.
Wait,
oh, Lambo
Raikou wins these?
He's getting a little bit aggressive.
We have the barrier!
He does. With the 4th shot in the barrier, does manage to pick it up. And now with Death able to back up his ADC, Raikou's gonna make it out alive, but just barely.
Yeah, this is, you know what? You absolutely take those. If you are Raikou, your game 1 was atrocious. Your game 2's looking not so great. You absolutely take those, at least for the emotional support of getting that pickup there and flipping a kill on to the Xayah. You know, barriers going up for sure. We'll save that one. But Jake currently 4-1 on the Nocturne here. VFD Lambo 3-1. Giggle 1-0-7. 100% kill participation this game on the Rakan, making the magic happen around the Rift. Looking fantastic this game, just playing out of his mind, really. We'll see if he can keep that up, as Kumi is going to be the target.
Yep.
Of nothing. They can't get anything.
Yeah, I was about to say, they're looking, but going the tank, going the Hollow Radiance means that you're not in that much danger if you're close to a tower. Although over the wall, they are getting the invade on Jake. Shouldn't be able to get the fear, but it will be Lizzo picking up a nice little smite there. Death has to be careful, has to use that blast cone out. He's getting tagged up a little bit. You can see Tawny on the potential roam down, but Vay already there. Lizzo potentially looking for an ultimate, but doesn't want to waste it, not being able to see the rest of the map, especially with Giggle and Lambo missing.
Yeah, Giggle and Lambo now in the mid lane, moving up to just pressure this turret. Almost certainly going to be able to take this one down. Raikou can try and fire back. Okay, I think they will stop the siege here. Only the little grubbins will be there to provide support. I think they could look for another push and just get it on this second swing. Unless Raikou can clear. Okay, never mind. They do have the ability to just clear out here. So the turret will remain for a little while longer, giving time for Lizzo to arrive. Could set up a play here. Bowling ball goes wide. What can Lizzo do? Nothing is the answer. Gutter ball.
Yeah. Nice little bowling ball there. Not gonna hit anything though. Right through the pins. What is it? 10 and 12, 10 and 9. What is that?
Yeah, it's an 8-10,
An
7-10
8-10
split. Say 7-10 split, 8-10.
7-10 split. I don't know. I'm not a big bowler. All coming through though. The hero's entrance. VFD Lambo popping very low, but it's gonna be Swedish pancakes falling instead. Lambo, nice Featherstorm and forced to use the barrier. Nice Severing Bolt, but Swedish Pancakes just barely doesn't pick up the kill and is going to get punished for it as Jake and Kumi. The deadly combo here, 5-1-0 versus 0-1-5. Kumi playing more of a supportive role this game, but when Jake's 5-1 on the Nocturne, I don't think you're unhappy at all to see that, especially with how far ahead Lambo is. Now Tawny has to be careful. Bowling ball from the end, and that's the strike right there as Tawny sets it up. Lizzo makes it out alive. It's going to be another kill picked up for the Lilia. Although Depth does have to be a bit careful. Jake going forward. Spell Shield's going to work out. Giggle not quite going to be able to land the knock-up. Raikou, though, going to be forced to flash back over that wall to get himself out. Herald now started up, and with they and Lizzo at such low health bars, there's not a whole lot they can do to contest this one.
Yeah, Lizzo ended up having to recall there, so that is going to be a very free Herald picked up by Raikou thinking about it. We have smite, guys. Yeah,
Okay.
guys, we have smite, guys. Guys,
I like it. Yeah,
Guys?
no, Jake did it. Okay.
guys, Jake, guys.
We're not even going to defend it either?
There's no way we just let them. We just let them steal it
No
and
shot.
then walk up and take it. This is real life. Oh boy, this is real life. We.
Oh, wait,
this-
did it expire? I don't think they got it. I think it expired.
No, they didn't. Okay. All right. Mission supposedly accomplished.
Close enough. We'll take it. We'll take the wins where we can get them at this point. Right, Imperials already a bit too far behind that, you know, you'll be happy with the steal. Although, you do really want the soul point. Are going to be able to come back. Raikou with no flash. However, Lizzo with no ultimate is a big deal. Not having that Lilting Lullaby is going to make it really, really hard to walk in here and win a fight. Taunts down from Kumi, though, and that's might be your opening. See them trying to get poked down, trying to get something. Bowling ball hits Giggle. They see it now, and Jake turns off the lights. Now engages onto 4, but he's all alone, has to be careful. But the Imperials aren't even going to try fighting back. They're just too scared of what could happen. Meanwhile, Tawny TPing in, and they just gave away the farm. Lizzo not even going to be able to get out. The Justice Punch hits, and it's Lambo that picks up the kill. Now going to turn their eyes back towards the dragon and stop them from getting that soul point. And Imperials didn't even realize they could have turned on Jake there. Jake was in the middle of 4 people. They absolutely could have killed him, but they were just so scared about everything else, and you could just feel the fear in their hearts, right? Like, if they had the fight left in them, they would have taken that. They would have been like, yeah, we got that. Wait, we can turn. He's all alone. But they're just terrified now.
Yeah.
It's like a mental block.
Yeah, it's lore accurate Nocturne paranoia.
More
right
accurate
there.
Nocturne ultimate.
The lights go out, and we didn't bring our nightlight. It's very scary. We did have object permanence here, but unfortunately it was too dangerous. We just assumed that because we couldn't see them, they were there, even though we had all the vision to know that they probably weren't. But I suppose it was just a little too risky, and that's one of the advantages of having the Nocturne, is just turning off the lights can cause actual psychological damage. It's such a great button to click. So yeah, the Imperials will just lose their opportunity to flip that fight around on the Jake. Jake playing as if he's got a team behind him, and he absolutely did not. And that gamble pays off for the Kittens, who pick up their first strike of the game. I believe that was their first strike of the game, unless the Imperials picked it up. But this is Hex Tech, right? Hex Tech?
Yeah, it is the Hex. It is the Hex Tech.
Right. Sorry. Bugged icons. You know, it's what's it?
Small indie company. We
Small
can't be
indie
bothered to
company.
fix our spectator client.
Yeah, you know, biggest budget ever. Please buy our $400 recolor. Thank you. Please gamble. We are poor. We are broke. We can't afford to add another icon into the spectator client. Thank you. is very difficult. You know, it would break something. You know, Mordekaiser would stop functioning, probably.
Yeah.
Riot bashing aside,
God.
looking at the game here, 4K gold lead for Kittens, and it's looking rough for the Imperials still, but not impossible.
I'd like you to know that the Mordekaiser rework was in 2019. The Mordekaiser rework, the new Mordekaiser rework, not the original one. This new Mordekaiser rework that stopped him from being the old thing was now 6 years ago. There's a very good chance that the people listening don't understand that in the olden days, what would happen when you would change Mordekaiser, the very old Mordekaiser, the entire game would break. And the joke was that Mordekaiser somehow held the game spaghetti together, that he was the marinara, he was the sauce that held everything. You guys don't understand. Every time that man was in a patch note, something would break hilariously. No one understood why.
That's actually the... Sorry, keep going.
I was gonna say, that's not even the case anymore. It's new Mordekaiser. It's over 6 years ago. I feel so old now.
Yeah, that's actually the reason they had to add Viego, was because they needed somebody else to be the sauce merchant, you know, breaking the game in weird ways. As Jake is again aggressing 4v1, but this time he's not going to be not a surprise unless Giggle.
Yeah, it's going to force the flash out of Lizzo as Lizzo runs back into the enemy team to maybe take out Jake. Now the curtain's opened up though, but a nice bullet lands onto Lambo. Tawny getting slowed up as well, and Giggle desperately trying to run back to his top laner. Meanwhile, Jake, it was originally Lizzo chasing Jake, and now Jake's back to chasing Lizzo in the jungle, and it's going to be the Nocturne that ends up with the kill after all is said and done. Raikou also low, so they have to be careful, but in that side lane, they was able to get the 1v1 onto Kumi, and now has full pressure in the bot side, so is going to force the Kittens to back at some point to try and answer that push.
And we have located the win condition. We play around Camille's split push. Because I don't think Taunty definitely can't really contest the Camille, can wave clear, but is very easy to kill now that Camille is at 2 items. Galio, as we just saw there, not able to fight the Camille. Nocturne is not going to be in that side of the map, same with Xayah and Rakan. So your 2 possible people who can attempt to stop the Camille in the side lane are not really able to do it. So they caution is absolutely going to have to try and make the most of this side lane pressure, or the Kittens are going to have to try and stop they caution and maybe give up a potential game fight lead as we turn the lights off. But that's just for emotional support, as no engage happens as a result, and no real pressure is found. We're going to see a 4v4 in bot.
Yeah, the 4v4 coming out, but it's going to be Jake picking up the first kill, and Kittens picking up the initial fight, going back towards the dragon again, and with the Baron not up yet, that's just another pickup. 2 dragons to 2 dragons, unless we see some insane Severing Bolt come out. However, they're just going to take the mid lane instead and walk themselves up towards the Vey caution as the Imperials attempt to regroup in the blue side jungle, potentially force out a topside tower, or maybe back up towards that Baron, back up towards the Otacon, maybe get something, but they're just so far behind now at this point. You know, the gold doesn't look as bad, it's only 2,000, but it's still really hard for them to actually make plays when you see all things considered. The knockup not quite going to come out. Here's the hero's entrance, though, is going to knock up too. However, the curtain call and the spiraling despair are going to do so much damage. Kumi should be relatively safe, not going to black it up. They don't understand the hitboxes. You have to stand right behind.
Dude. Okay,
it's always more open towards the bottom. That's how the League top-down map works.
The Z-axis. The Z-axis killing...
The ever-elusive Z-axis does exist in League of Legends.
No.
It might not be a 3D game, but we still have a minor Z-axis. Much more noticeable on the river, but not here. And Lambo, all alone up in mid, not where Xayah can be without flash, even with ult. That was a little bit of a questionable option, and Raikou has turned this game around from 0-1 to 4-1. Now almost 3 items on the Jhin. The Otacon's up, the Baron's spawning, and it's Imperials with control of the map.
Yeah, we're starting to see kind of the problems with this Kitten's composition. is despite the fact that they have a lot of gold in the Nocturne and quite a bit of gold into VFD Lambo, their ability to fight is very much kind of dependent on getting a really good engage off of Kumi and Jake and Giggle, with Lambo following up. But if they aren't able to do that, if they can't get the Nocturne in with everything layered on top of it, it becomes so difficult for the side of the Kittens to actually win a fight. And as a result, if they take too long or their engage is too scattered or too split, it gives Hui and Jin the time that they need to just shred those health bars, siege those enemy champions, and it ends with the Imperials evening up the game, picking up the Ravenous Atacon here. And once again, I think, honestly, the Imperials are now in the driver's seat of this game. The Kittens have started to fall behind a little too much, and I'm not really sure from this angle if they can't win 4v5, so like a definitive 4v4, I don't know how they win the game.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit difficult at this point to try and figure out like what your win conditions are. And the big one is like, you need to back up your carry. This Xayah is the main way you win, right? Imperials, they have sort of ways around it. They can fight up close with that force shot on the Jin. The autos are still hitting really hard. They can fight far away using the artillery of the curtain call and all the spells from the Hui. So they have a number of angles, but Kittens sort of, like we said, have that one-track game plan, right? They go in, I got a lot of ultimates to go in with, but after they do that, if they don't find something, if they're not, ahead by the time the paranoia wears off, by the time the hero's entrance lands, there's not a whole lot you can do to fight back. It's kind of just all on Lambo at that point.
Yeah, and another unfortunate. We do a engage. Here we go.
Huge engage from Jake. The hero's entrance comes out. Is going to land the double knockup, and it's Lizzo caught out on the side, but a huge sleep onto two of the carries now. Has to be careful as the rest of the Kittens are running back, and it's going to be Raikou picking up the first kill. Lizzo over the wall as Tawny's not going to be able to land the backup. Now it's Vey with the TP going in, going for more. The Hextech ultimatum onto Lambo, who's desperately trying to get out, but there is no escape under any circumstance. Lizzo hit with the sweet spot on that W, and Lizzo is going to keep running them down. Meanwhile, in the back, Death going to be able to land another stun, and it's going to be Tawny killed up. Clean ace for the Imperials, and a triple kill for Swedish Pancakes as the Imperials move towards the Baron and have turned this game back into their favor.
Yeah, the Kittens' game plan has kind of completely fallen apart at this point. Nocturne has reached the inevitable Nocturne horizon of being absolutely, completely useless. Just a horrendous, awful, no good, very bad champion, doing literally nothing to contribute to society and dying instantly, uselessly, killing nobody, as I always expect Nocturne to do. So it's really bad. Jokes aside, it's the damage of the Imperials is now so high that it's able to very easily cut through this front line of Galio and Nocturne. The Jin alone with the curtain call was able to pierce the veil of the Galio. That Petricite armor of this big golem was absolutely blasted away, and that is atrocious. And of course, does not help that Lambo. Okay, never mind. Lizzo decides to die, unless.
Oh, we'll see it. The damage coming through. It's going to be Death going down first. Unfortunately, Lambo's going to go down in the process. Thanks to all the burn from Swedish Pancakes. The Severing Bolt not going to land. Giggle on the back end. See the curtain call. Tries to find Jake, but he's able to dodge it out. One more bullet. Going to be able to make it out just barely. Swedish Pancakes need one more spell. Trying to land the speed up bonus in from downtown. Raikou with the Deadly Flourish. Gonna pick up the Nocturne, and with both carries from the Kittens dead, it's gonna be Vey Caution splitting in that top side. Gonna be able to go back in. You can see the Gragas doing absolutely nothing. Vey Caution going back in with the Hextech ultimatum, running circles around Giggle and Tawny. Unfortunately stayed under tower for maybe just a little bit too long and is gonna be forced out. Has to use the hook shot onto the inhibitor to get himself out there. Raikou just does so much damage though, and Kumi all on the magic resist, just getting absolutely shredded by the bullets from the Jin. And it should just be a short while now until Soul Point is picked up by Lizzo Mukbang, and the Imperials are going to be able to reset here with a lot of gold in their pocket, Soul Point in their hands, and a significant 10k gold lead over the Kittens.
Yeah, and we're seeing kind of a reverse of what we saw last game, where the Imperials, with their aggressive, very aggro-spec composition, were forced to take disadvantageous fights because that's what their composition does. The Kittens now are in the same position, where they're going to be forced to take disadvantageous fights because that's what their comp does. And unfortunately, as we're seeing these fights develop, they just don't have the damage. Lambo alone is not enough, and you really, I think, like, the Galio, I know makes sense, and Kumi plays it, but I feel like you really cannot, in this day and age, run a single threat composition if Zaya's your only threat. And I don't think that this dive was really what they wanted to do. I think probably the most criminal thing we've seen develop here is we both had our doubts about the Gragas, and I gotta say, has been absolutely turbo useless this game, doing, I think, less than nothing. I feel like if you were just a big siege minion, you'd be getting more done than the Gragas has this game. As Vaycaution will be taking aggro of 3 people, but it's gonna stay perfectly alive. Okay, we'll go down. Go down. Okay, we'll go down, but our Nexus is going down.
Eventually.
Unless...
unless
there's no way.
Lambo trying. Oh, the
There's
sleep
no
comes
way.
through. They have to dodge it. Is it going to be the redemption that wakes up Lambo? Well, they weren't able to get the kill. They do manage to hang on from that whole push. However, the Imperials are still really far ahead. They are still on Soul Point. They are still 5 towers up. Not looking super great for Kittens, but I'm not going to count them out. They still have a lot of ways to win. They still have that big win condition. Obviously, you know, it really is only one way to do it. However, if they manage to land a big fight, it's not going to be as hard as it would have been otherwise, right? These big team fighting comps, not as difficult as maybe, you know, the all-in early game from Imperials last game. Maybe not as difficult as like a heavy split push or a 3-1-1 comp. So, all things considered, it could be significantly worse. Could be a lot better, though.
Yeah, could be very much better here. I feel like the Imperials, you know, it's not like a huge loss that they ended up three people dying there. Could have maybe executed that better. It was 2v4 in the enemy base. I feel like if you just, like, play it slow, you can very easily take a turret, especially considering you have Jin and, you know, play. But it is what it is. I imagine it was not a misplay, but just a good play from the Kittens to turn it around, as Vaycaution needs to be cautious, as they are going to die again, and nothing is going to be found in return. We're dying for no reason. Okay, we're going to trade Taunty on the other side.
Yeah, so it could be a lot worse. Tawny is going to be down here. Going to try and get himself out, but it should just be a matter of time. Raikou opening up the curtains, didn't even need it. I don't think realized that the red buff does trigger the collector. So, didn't even need to use the curtain call. And it might be a waste now, as you can see a fight possibly coming through the mid lane. But Lizzo is just so fast at this point. It's really hard to actually get anything. Lambo's finally joined up. Is here to try and land it, but you can see just so hard to try and join the fight when you're getting cut off by so much of these abilities. So many of these abilities, right? Sweet Pancakes. With the floor, right? Floor is lava. Lizzo with that Q, just very difficult to actually land the autos and get this consistency down. When anytime you're in auto range, you just feel like you're about to die.
Yeah, it is very rough for VFD Lambo to get any damage out into Lizzo here. It requires either Kumi or Giggle to get a lockdown into Lizzo, and Kumi has opted into walking into no vision and dying.
That's certainly a way to do it.
We, why? What did we gain? What did we benefit from even stepping in that bush?
Yeah, really don't know about that one. Seems to be a bit of a miscommunication, we'll call it. Surely
Okay.
that's one thing we call it.
4v5.
Okay, the 45 already coming out. Jake's the first one to fall. Lambo trying to get these feathers down, trying to land some damage,
No
but it's just
damage.
so hard.
This is
He's eventually
so
put into the Hextech ultimatum. The feathers come through, but it's too little, too late, and with no kills, the Imperials pick up a clean ace and walk for the victory march down mid to try and tie up the series.
Yeah, and once again, kind of out of character in terms of predicting a composition to lose, and it actually loses. For the second time here, the Imperials will be taking up this victory here. After dropping game 1 with an aggressive composition, they pump the brakes a little bit, pull out a little bit more of a varied composition, and now have resulted in them turning the series back around and tying it back up. So we are going to get a 3-game series, which not unsurprising here, but how we got here is certainly a little shocking. I don't necessarily know if either of us really would have expected that. And looking at the damage here for both teams, yeah, you can definitely see what these two teams were trying to do, with the Kittens playing very much into the Xayah being the one and only superstar savior of the world, and just not being able to cut the mustard in the end.
Yeah, and that's the problem with drafting sort of this one threat game plan, is that if that threat is struggling to get in, there's not a lot you can do.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that playing super aggro, like the Kittens drafted this game, I don't think it was the right play. They looked very good on that more controlled style, although I will say they were doing well in the earlier stages of the game. Giggle was looking great on the Recon, the Nocturne was getting things done, but eventually they reached a point where they were starting to have to take fights 4v4 that they were just not able to win because they had one damage-dealing champion and a completely useless Gragas in the top lane, who I think you could have swapped out with literally any other champion, and the state of the game does not change. You could have swapped it out with like a champion from a different game. You could have put Slowbro in from Pokemon Unite, and I think the game stays exactly the same. In fact, maybe Slowbro does better than Gragas does this game. But
for those that don't know, Slowbro is basically just Malzahar Ultimate on a tank.
It's very funny. It's a very funny character. He was
Which is insane, by the way. Like, that is an insane ability to have, right? Like, imagine if you had Malzahar ult, but on a significantly better champion.
Yeah, we're not talking Pokemon Unite. We'll be here all day. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like the Kittens got to go back to draft, and I think they would benefit from just attempting to try and wait to play more late game. I think the Imperials as a team struggle in the later stages of the game. So if you can just try and scale to that point in the later stages and then try and beat them there, I think that is something the Kittens could look to do. But as it stands, the Imperials turn it back around, and now they've got momentum going into Game 3.
Yeah. And that momentum is going to be a big deal going into that Game 3, right? Obviously, bringing it back when you, after the disastrous Game 1, having that momentum, knowing that, yeah, you still got it in you, you still have that team play, you still have those big team fights, and that Raikou is not just the 1-in-8 Tristana, but can also be the 10-in-1 Jhin. I think gives a lot of confidence back, especially to the bot lane.
Yeah, and we'll see if that confidence can convert into a victory here in Game 3. We're going to go to a break, and then we'll be in the draft very shortly, so stick around. Game 3 of Kittens versus Imperials coming at you after the break.
All right, everybody, and welcome back into draft for game 3. Big, exciting adventures happening last game. Big engage comp from the Kittens. Big, kind of do everything artillery comp from the Imperials, and a lot of comfort now taken out. And this is what we love to see with this Fearless going into game 3. Got a lot of those standard carry picks, right? The Xayah, the Jinx already gone. The Jhin gone for Raikou as well. A lot of those priority mid laners. A lot of the blind pickable champs gone. So I'm excited to see what we have in store, what people end up going. Still have some interesting picks that these players have in their back pockets, right? So Sejuani's, the Volibears. In terms of the jungle, you still have those classic top laners. So I'm not too surprised to see these already getting taken out, but most of the draft being very similar. We are going to see the Smolder locked in as a ban. Not too surprised to see it. We don't need to ban the Karthus or the Jarvan. Those are already both banned.
Kittens? Hello?
Are we? I think we're just memeing around.
Did we forget?
We're just gonna lock in the Vi again. Okay.
Yeah, just ban away the Vi from Lizzo. I think both those bans are fully justified. Yeah, I think the interesting thing going into this game here is that Kittens have opted into red side. So both of our teams kind of favoring being on red side here. And now the Imperials are going to have first draw. Okay, so you told me that Seraphine was the best champion to pick in the patch, and have you seen her? Is she here? Do we not have her enabled, or what?
I do not. I see B1 Mordekaiser.
And R1 Karma in response. This
man,
is truly fearless. We are playing with no fear in this game. Mordekaiser
is this
appeared...
what happens when you, after having to play 2 games like that, do you just like lose your brain?
Look, it was inevitable. I am in the Death Realm right now, so Mordekaiser did have to appear to, make sure I stay in the Death Realm officially this series. Or maybe it was I got Nocturne ultied because I kept talking shit about Nocturne being one of the worst champions in League of Legends. No good, very bad. Volibear, however, very good, very epic champion. Could go jungle, could go top. I do like it. I do like it paired with the Karma. In the later stages, I think Karma does enable the Volibear, similar to other bruisery champs like Olaf, to just go nutso crazy, given the right game state. So I'm not against this R1 R2. It's certainly unorthodox, but I'm all right with it. Misfortune will get picked up. Kind of strange to do that with the Mordekaiser, but at this point I think we're just picking our favorite champions and we're gonna run at each other and hope it works out. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad strategy. I'm kind of down for it.
Yeah. Already the Imperial. I mean, it feels like we're just going with big dummy run at each other comps right now. I don't see a lot of adaptations happening, right? The Carbon, the Volibear want to run at you. The Mordekaiser, Leon, and MF want to run at you. Like, oh boy, the Sivir. Misfortune Sivir Jinx every game. I can't fathom why these are the champions that are the highest priority in Ruby. We have other champions, guys. You can play more than the same 5 champions. You're allowed.
The
We're
other ones
not
got
going to
patched
come
out.
to your house.
You don't get it. The other ones got patched out. Seraphine was not actually included in the patch notes.
Varus exists.
She got rotated out. He also got rotated out. It's unfortunate.
My bad.
Yeah.
Didn't even realize.
He's gonna be in the next set. The next set got leaked. We're gonna get Varus with a hat. It's gonna be very good.
Totally not Varus.
Yeah. Speaking of not Varus, the other champions in the game, as we do have the Brandon and Ivia taken away from the Imperials here. I guess targeting Swedish, as the Urgot will be taken away from Taunty. And I wouldn't be surprised to see another top lane ban. I feel like with the red side pick, the point of it is to get counter pick for Taunty. Taunty's one of those players who does have the capabilities to win a game single-handedly through top lane, even though top lane is kind of irrelevant as a role. Taunty can at least attempt to make it work. Talia is a champion you can choose to play. Is available to play. Talia is certainly available to play in League of Legends, the 2010 video game, released by Riot Games, here right now.
Yeah, these are certainly champions that exist in the game League of Legends. These drafts just have no like, okay.
This is solo queue. We
didn't need the Mordekaiser first pick, but Imperials at least have the cohesion of like Solar Flare, Misfortune Sigil. Like they want to find someone and one shot someone, right?
Yeah.
I feel like Kittens have like
Yakes?
Kittens have like a general like movement speed sub theme going on. I don't really.
Yeah, this is sub theme. What is this Magic the Cat? Are we really playing Magic right now?
Dude, this is mono red with like the mouse sub theme. This is how I'm feeling right now. Like this is unironically like this is like rule mice. This is what I'm feeling.
And we're keeping the movement speed theme going as we are looking to pick up the Garen here.
Whatever. What am I talking about? What am I talking about in draft? There's no cohesion to either of these team comps. We are just picking champions to pick champions.
I think the tragic thing here is the team with Lizzo in the jungle has Syndra, and the team with the Giggle in support has Sivir. I think that is a modern day tragedy. That these players can't play their beloved favorite champions, some of their iconic champions. You know, hopefully Lambo takes some build advice from Giggle so he can at least feel something this game. With the Black Cleaver, Cyrilda's Grudge, Airy, whatever Sivir build. In any case, we have two solo queue comps queuing into each other. We at least have like a theme with Imperials looking to try and long range CC someone and to kill them to death with the bullet time. Misfortune, Leona, and Syndra all work very well together. And Mordekaiser and Jakes are both just kind of generally good champions who can do different things, although they aren't that impressive paired with the other champions that the Imperials have right now. Meanwhile, Kittens have just selected 5 of their favorite champions. They run at you very fast, though. So, which comp do you favor here?
Do I have to pick one?
I guess you don't. There's nobody I don't have a gun pointed at you. You can.
I mean, okay,
opt out.
As much as I want to opt out, I don't know. I feel like Kittens generally, like, despite having very little cohesion, they have they have someone that goes in front. They have someone that stands behind. They have things that they can do. They want a team fight, and it's just a lot of AoE and movement speed. And it's like the Sivir's gonna run around, I guess, and she's hard to pin down. And like Imperials, their whole thing is find one person and blow them up. And I feel like there's just not a lot of champs that are very easily accessible to do that on for the Kittens.
Mm-hmm.
But all things considered, yeah, we picked a bunch of champions that have good movement speed, and we're just gonna like run around fights. That's what it feels like. I feel like there's a lot better ways to do both of these comps, but all things considered, Kittens I think are gonna be easier to pull off. I think as a unit, they'll probably tend to work better together in teamfight scenarios, which I think is what we've been seeing a lot of.
Yeah. Well, to have a split finally, I'm going to go for Wizzo Mukbang on the Mordekaiser jungle here. I think Vey Caution will hopefully be able to make something happen in the top lane and with the Yakes. And I do think that the ability to, if you hit a stray, force Scatter the Weak into landing a full CC combo, as long as you hit a good target with that, I think that it will allow the Imperials and kind of the bruisers of the team to just start taking over the fight. Because if they can get a numbers advantage, I think that Jax and Mordekaiser can very easily work to steamroll here. And on the other side, if they start losing fights, Jax and Mordekaiser are both champions that are quite proficient at splitting the map. So, and Leona and Syndra do an alright job disengaging. So I think that the Imperials do have the ability to have a couple of options in game, but it is going to be very difficult to execute, I think, into the comp that the Kittens have. But I'm going to believe, because...
You believe?
I'm going to believe in Imperials, and certainly they won't betray me and throw a 10k gold lead. They would never do that. A Lizzo team has never thrown a 10k gold lead twice in 1 week. That has never happened. So we'll see if that happens this game as we go into the spectator delay for game 3 here. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
everybody, and welcome back in on the Rift for Game 3, final game of our series, and it's looking to be an exciting one. The comps may not have the most energy together like they have last games, but they sure are exciting. I think I'm expecting to see a lot of interesting things. We finally get to see the Lizzo mukbang Mordekaiser jungle after so long.
Yes, truly incredible stuff happening here on the Rift. And we are 4 stacking here. I suppose we're kind of just attempting to counter-maneuver a potential ward coming in from somebody on the Kittens, but it looks like it will not come out, as the both teams are just going to accept a fairly even no cheese level 1 here. And, you know, looking at these compositions, they certainly are fascinating. But if you, in the audience, want to look at these compositions and your own compositions in more depth, well, I've got a tool for you. That's right. We're having an ad read mid-game. Certainly nothing will interrupt it in the game. That is right. We are looking at procomps.gg. If you want to draft like the professionals or like a professional, theoretically, you can use procomps.gg to get advice during the draft with live draft coaching, recommendations for picks and bans, a whole guide to give your draft some extra spice and oomph to it. You can generate champion pools and build a roster for you and your friends, whether you're playing casually or semi-competitively. So if you want to join the 20,000 people in procomps.gg, you can use our link in the description or below here. Below the stream in the information, you can find our procomps.gg. Thank you to procomps.gg for sponsoring the stream. And back to Death going in at level 1.
Yeah, the Death Classic, you know, the level 1 all-in. Does get quite a bit of damage down. Unfortunately, is going to get traded back pretty significantly, so although they do have the level 2 advantage, they're not really able to push it because all the cooldowns were already used, because there was so much damage already traded back. So Lambo and Giggle, all things considered, are actually in a pretty good spot.
Yeah. Sitting quite comfortably for themselves. I do really like the Sivir Karma lane combo. When I very briefly played AD in a draft league, that was one of the duos that me and my support played a lot, because I just like Sivir, and the Karma works pretty well with it. So I do think it's a good duo, and hopefully Lambo and Giggle can make it happen. We did have a reset here, as Jake's going to look for Vacaution.
Yep, Vacaution going to be forced to use the flash and the ward hop just to get out. Jake, nice gank early on there on the top side, is going to use the flash to force flash, but all things considered, I think coming out on top is going to get the full priority, going to be able to force Vacaution's flash out, and got Taunty a lot of pressure up in that top side on the Garen, which is going to be really helpful, especially because Taunty has that ignite. Means that without the flash and down a ward, Vacaution's going to be very, very, very vulnerable to an early all-in from the Garen, especially that level 6, right? If Vay is not careful, Tawny just gets a very easy kill and can completely dictate the pace of the lane.
Yeah, one of the reasons that Garen is... Oh, we have an interesting maneuver here by Giggle.
Yeah, Giggle gonna use the alt W, though. The Mantra W is gonna help heal him back up. Still a little bit aggressive, but is gonna be able to heal a lot of that damage, especially with the shield. One of the big things of Karma, right, people don't realize is that Mantra W heals a lot of health.
Yes. Yeah, if you get the full channel on that tether, you get quite a bit of health back. It allows her to be, like, deceptively tanky, more than just her shield, as Jake's gonna look for something. No flash, though.
Yeah, Raikou, now rooted up, has to be careful, isn't gonna be able to flash out of this one. Gonna use the barrier, but one more auto from Lambo is gonna pick it up, and the pizzas are flying. Lambo the delivery man, picking up first blood for the Kittens, evening up the gold lead, and looking pretty good. Getting that early kill onto the Sivir, gonna help that scaling a lot, gonna be able to just absolutely evaporate those waves.
Yeah, Ayo the pizza's here, and in the mid lane, Mordekaiser's looking for a pizza. Will not find it, as the seismic shove will just keep himself safe. Not too surprising to see that, as Death actually gonna be forced to flash there too. The Mantra Q field just a bit too threatening with Lambo's damage pressure. So right now, bot lane certainly in favor of Lambo and Giggle, although Lambo's going to need to reset to get the most out of it. Oh, very good spell shield there to get a little bit of extra healing and avoid quite a bit of damage. Just sort of survive in the lane longer, but mana not looking so great for the Sivir. We'll need to recall pretty soon. But the wave is not super favorable to initiate a recall here. We'll likely need Jake to just come down and help out a little bit to get a safer back for Lambo, who is just staying as alive as they can in terms of mana off of just stray spare regen as Giggle's bullying Raikou.
Yeah, something I didn't realize, there was like 2 waves, or like almost 2 waves, or like 2.5 waves. There was a lot of minions lost under tower when Lambo was able to shove in that wave that Raikou wasn't able to catch. Mm-hmm. So just in terms of like an XP difference, Lambo's actually really far ahead right now.
Yeah. Looking at an XP difference, Kumi's level 6 and also dead as hell.
Yeah, pulled in over the wall. Now Lizzo has to be careful though, as Tawny's going to be able to run him down, spin in that sword, and Jinbe Jake that picks up the kill. Death, though, already on the rotation, and Tawny going to be forced to use that flash to get out.
Yeah, Swedish did not have the gameplay button, but did not want to risk it, especially with Yakas waiting in the wings. Just going to go ahead and flash out there. I think Taunty's not too upset about that. Okay, Yakas could find something in top.
Potentially. Has to be careful. Tawny does have the Demacian Justice, so
don't do it.
You can see Vaycaution
You're not
being
him.
so scared.
You're not him.
Dude, he didn't even want to try it. He knows. He knows.
Yeah, Swedish Pancakes also not him, as Giggle's gonna walk in, chain him up, and try and take him down.
Yeah, getting very low. It will be the Karma that picks up the kill, as well as the Feat of Warfare. Death gonna get rooted up. Probably no kills, though. Not enough damage this early in the game. But still, an amazing pick there. Gonna be able to get kills spread across the board. Tawny lives. They get a bunch of objectives. They're going for the grubs now, too, and Kittens are just in a massive lead early on.
Yeah, although Yakas is going to TP up here, Vaycaution will try and stop Jake. Jake almost certainly going to go down.
Yeah, and without the ultimate, it's just a matter of time. Lizzo Mukbang just needs 1 auto, 1 Q, and that'll do it. They will get the kill. And he's going to turn back towards the grubs. However, Kittens did manage to pick up a grub, so neither team will be able to pick up any of the objective thirds, tokens, whatever you want to call it, towards the feat of monster slaying off of the grubs. It will still be Kittens up 1 on the drag. However, we might say tower before we even see monster slaying, based on just how much damage this tower is taking down here, especially because Death had to roam, and Raikou being forced off the tower again, already being at a deficit. This is just really rough for the Misfortune down here.
Yeah, and that is another plate going in the pocket of VFD Lambo and Giggle. And yeah, Raikou just taking so much free damage off of the ricochets and boomerang blades. In the mid lane, though, Kumi will get, I think that was just a straight up solo kill there. I don't know if Lizzo participated in that. I didn't see. But Lizzo may be looking to participate in another kill in the jungle here as Jake is in trouble.
And Lizzo already on his full clear mindset, grind set, going in the invades. He doesn't even care about just getting his jungle anymore. He wants to invade the enemy jungle. He wants to full clear the entire map.
Yeah, and I definitely think that when you are Mordekaiser here and you have this kind of stat advantage, while Volibear, especially what we're seeing here, is likely going to be the thrift shop Volibear, picking up just whatever items feel interesting in the moment. It's going to take a while for thrift shop Volibear to go online, and whereas Mordekaiser feels pretty complete as a champion off of just Rylai's. So Lizzo is going to feel very good in these skirmishes into the Volibear, whereas Volibear is still very much waiting to get an item of some variety to just apply some pressure. Taunty seeing an opportunity to try and proxy here with no help coming for Vaycaution. These two top laners are just going to try and trade CS up here in the top side. And I don't think help is on the way, although Taunty's not going to risk it. I'm just going to take a safe. Never mind. Safety is for cowards, as it turns out. When we can continue to proxy farm because we happen to know that Lizzo's not there.
Yeah, and the proxy is really funny. Just seeing the Garen proxy force the Jax out when you're already up like on CS, you already have the Tiamat, you're just like running down the waves, and Vey really has no opportunity. And you can already see Jake going for the potential invade. Okay, is just gonna go for the normal invade and potentially come around mid here. Sweet Pancakes has already used a lot of these spells. Jake gonna go forward, but realizing that, oh, Lizzo was just seen bot side and has not been seen for a while. We should probably back up. Probably gonna be somewhere around that mid lane. And Ani, so many plates being taken here for the Kittens, just on every lane.
Yeah, top and bot are both just funneling a lot of gold into these laners, but these objectives are still, at least, the first Drake went over to Kittens, but now it looks like the Imperials are going to pick up this next Drake. That's going to go for an engage, though.
Yeah, it will be the Dragon, though, going over to the Imperials. 1-for-1 so far. Meanwhile, Jake's just been farming the enemy jungle. Doesn't even care about the objective right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's a perfectly fine choice. I don't know if there's really an angle you could have contested. Swedish had priority in mid, and your bot lane would have to try and fight that 2 or 3v4. So there really was no way of contesting that. So I think it is smart to just try and go for a bit of farm, especially since the Volibear has... the tempo for the Volibear is certainly slowed down relative to the Mordekaiser. So you take what you can get, as Lambo is just brutalizing Raikou here, but they may have bitten off more than they can chew.
Yep, we'll have to see. Giggle
TP.
going really far forward is going to be able to dodge it out, but Swedish Pancakes was already on the TP. Going to try and get the root, not going to hit Lambo. Lambo makes it out alive.
Giggle?
Giggle probably will not. It's just a matter of time. One more auto, and it's going to be Raikou picking up the kill on that bot side. And they're not going to actually try and get this tower. They are going to give Lambo the wave, meaning that Jake's going to have full priority for these grubs, or to just keep invading. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and that was quite a bit of time wasted. Giggle was able to successfully waste time, if nothing else, and since Lambo is Sivir and able to pretty easily clear while under turret, it makes dives pretty risky. Even if the Sivir doesn't have a lot of mana or flash, you will kill the Sivir for sure if you go for the dive, but how safe is it is a different question, as we do look for a Grubbin's flip around here. Jake was able to pick up 2 of them, but the last Grubbin will go to Lizzo, so neither team will get that objective point. And we'll both end with 3 Grubs, 1 Drake. It's kind of an unorthodox way to end at this even objective game state, but we did land here. What is not even, of course, is the turret pressure in top and bot side, which are absolutely Kitten's favored, and Raikou is going to be pressured in bot.
Yep. Oh, and we'll have to see the ult coming in, but the Weaver's Wall not going to be able to get anyone else. Just going to cut Death off from the early return. They want that tower, though. They're all pinging it. They still want more. They are going to send Kumi back towards mid lane just to get that wave, but can already see the damage coming through. Jake still being here. They are going to ult that wave using the bullet time. Lambo has to be real careful as he goes forward and gets absolutely shredded before the fight even starts. Now Giggle has to go in onto Raikou. They are going to use the Stormbringer. Going to jump under tower. Unfortunately, it will just be a 1-for-1 as Lambo got a little bit too antsy there at the start.
Yeah, just a kind of a disrespect of the Misfortune damage, just because she was behind. She still had BF Sword. She still had a lot in her pocket. Meanwhile, on top side, Vey Caution did not have Caution, as Taunty went for the Ignite with the Demacian Justice, got a kill up there. Solo Bolo up there as Kumi, nearly gets game played in the mid lane. Okay, trade of Flash for Flash as Kumi avoids the gameplay button. Manages to outplay the Unleashed power by having enough HP, and will walk away, but man, really struggling in this lane against Swedish.
Yeah. Everyone making it out, though. We do have Round H finished for Jake. 1 stack so far, but, 9 more to go. By the time we hit that big 25-minute mark, around the Baron, we're going to be really, really strong, assuming we don't throw the entire game right? So, all things considered, still good. Interesting thing here, Giggle did go for the Moonstone first over the Malignance, so is definitely going for much more of that hard Enchanter build.
Yeah, and honestly, I do like that. Similarly to like how you build Karma with Olaf, you have these very aggressive melee champions with the Volibear and the Garen, so you might as well opt into more of the Enchanter style build rather than the Malignance, as Taunty is gonna get another one.
Yeah, Tawny keeps running him down. Doesn't the Demacia just... I don't know if that would have...
It was not up. It was not up.
Oh, okay. I was like looking at it, I couldn't see quite if it was up just yet, but yeah, not being up makes a lot more sense, I feel like. Oh, now going for it, the flash though!
Now it's up.
And from right off the screen as we pan away, we can see Fall Guys don't look at explosions, and Tawny doesn't need to look at his kills.
Yeah, Death needs to look at
Side
VFD
steps,
Lambo
though.
here. Ooh, fancy footwork, but Lizzo may be trying to find something.
Nah, not gonna be able to land the claw. Nice plays though, and Tawny has just been running down this top side. Complete kingdom up there. Mountain Drag, or not Mount, right? Yeah, it won't be Mountain Drag, it'll be Hex Soul, sorry.
Oh, Raikou.
Oh, no,
what
Raikou,
what are you
buddy.
doing, man? Why are you...
We
What are
never
you
learn.
doing?
We never learn.
Well, eventually we'll learn lessons. It won't be this game. It won't be next game. It probably won't be the game after that, but eventually we'll learn our lesson. Yes. Oh, man. Okay,
Oh,
Jake is
picking up the kill.
Jake is moving. Jake is schmoving around the map right now, picking up one after another, and it looks like Lizzo's next on the list. We'll have to take the Hex Gate out, but that is almost certainly going to be a Drake given over here. There's no way to really contest. It will lightly reset. Could open up a window here. Vey Caution is full. Death is here. They might look for it. Taunty. I don't...
You can't make it up, dude.
How many
You
smites
can't make
have
it up.
been completely blundered this game? This is
We didn't have
embarrassing.
it up. We did it without Smite because we used Smite on the Raptors, I think, or like on a person. I don't know, or maybe we just missed Smite. I wasn't even, dude.
Who cares?
Only in Ruby, baby. Only in Ruby.
The smites this game have been like emotional damage to me. Like this is, I'm currently strapped in the chair with my eyes open like a clockwork orange, having to watch us whiff smite. It's really, it hurts me in particular as as Lambo picking up one.
Yeah, Giggle dying again. Tawny here. Sort of this guy. He drops the B emote and then immediately phase rushes back bot lane. Love to
That's
see
not-
it. Dude, he was already, by the time that sword landed, he was already halfway back to river.
That's how you play Garen. That you go from place to place, just do whatever you feel like and then run away. It's the true Garen experience. Lambo burning
Lambo.
that's bad.
Yeah, force the... Well, it is flash or flash, and honestly, Lizzo not having flash is kind of a big deal on that Mordekaiser, especially not being able to, like, flash ult Kumi, or flash ult Lambo, or flash ult Giggle at this point to take him out of the fight. A pretty big deal. Tawny, just gonna keep split pushing. That's, what, 1, 2, working on third tower now?
Yeah. Vey Caution is 3 levels down on Taunty. It's not particularly close in this top lane matchup, but hey, Herald is going to be picked up here for the Imperials, and I don't think there's a way they can contest. Jake is close, but not going to be able to get it, and we did successfully secure this objective for the people who love securing objectives. We did it. Kumi and Death Route.
Yeah, and Lizzo, despite not having a flash, misses the Q. Turned right back. A beautiful pull, though, into the bullet time. Unfortunately, not going to be enough. Only going to land 1 kill. Now it's Tawny in the back. Runs forward, moving at Mach 10. Goes in with a Sky Splitter. Beautiful Q from Giggle. Hits all 3 members. Slows him up. Now, finally, the TP from Vey Caution comes in. Is going to be able to finish off Jake, but in the backside, it was going to be able... Taunty going to be able to finish up on Death. Lambo falls. Jake not up anymore. But Tawny keeps running it down. Keeps getting the damage. Vey Caution, there is no inner tower to save you anymore. The push back from Swedish Pancakes, but the Scout of the Week not going to land the stun. Beautiful fight win for the Kittens. Now 4,000 gold in the lead. Picks up their objectives, picks up a bunch of kills. And despite a beautiful bullet time, Raikou just doesn't have the damage right now. Only an item and a half in. Lizzo, you know, on the rally has been you're just not where you would want to be at this stage in the game, right? 2 minutes on the dragon, at least you can try and fight around there. The Otacon's topside though, so depending on how this works out, you might be able to trade the dragon for Otacon, you know, team for team. Lambo, once again, maybe too far up in the mid lane, but is going to be able to make enough distance between him and Death to back off.
Yeah, important to note here, Thrift Shop Volibear has picked up the quick blades, Navori quick blades. So that is a huge pickup for Volibear right here, as it's just going to make Jake even harder to kill, and it's going to enable, again, this Karma shield, this more Enchanter-oriented Karma, to just give these melee carries the ability to dominate the game. As we saw in that last fight, with the Weaver's Wall just cutting off the escape, it was so easy for Jake and Taunty to just shred and cut through that backline piece by piece. So even though Kumi and Lambo weren't perfectly able to really contribute in that fight, the real threats of the game are these big frontline bruisers, and they've got the comp to really enable it. Honestly, kind of just held together by the power of the Karma champion.
I mean, honestly, this whole comp feels like it's being held together by blood, sweat, tears, and mantra shields. Like, look at it. It's held together by Karma shields.
Karma might be pretty good, I think. Karma's an okay champion.
I mean, I'm a Karma lover, but it's still, it's funny just to see how much, like, everyone around this map is just zooming. Like, it would not feel out of place to just drop, like, Hots Lucio in here, you know what I mean?
Oh, that'd be sick.
Can you imagine?
We were talking about Pokemon Unite earlier. Now we're
Can you
Hots.
imagine a Phase Rush Garen getting amped up by a Lucio speed boost?
Oh, I'm thinking
Nobody's
about it.
safe. That is actual, like, nightmare fuel.
That'd be horrifying. I'm scared thinking about it. But what's even scarier is the fact that the Kittens have opted into trading the Otacon for...
They're gonna leave Jake down here, but they're gonna
Oh wait,
roam
I
the
think
rest of the team
Taunty
up.
alone is scary enough to dissuade them.
Forget an amped up Garen. Just a normal Garen's enough to completely dissuade them. Kumi out of vision as well, and Lambo and Giggle rotating back up. So they're just gonna leave Jake to finish that one up, back it off as they finish up the scuttle and just keep pushing it in. Giggle is single-handedly scaring everyone back. It is desperate. Like, Imperials is just, like, quaking in their boots at this point. I'm so confused. Now the flash over the wall, it will be Tawny picking up the kill. Lizzo in the Death Realm was able to pick up Lambo, but on the backside of that fight, the bullet time just tickling Jake and Tawny. Doesn't actually do anything to them as they turn their eyes back towards that Otacon top side. And this feels like Tawny and Giggle are doing this game what Jake was doing last game, right? And don't get me wrong, Imperials still won, but they just seem so terrified all the time of anything.
Yeah, and we, like you said, we did see that last game where the Imperials were just so afraid of taking a proactive fight or trying to flip a fight, even if it looks like, if it's possibly in their favor. They're just so afraid of taking it because they just don't, they're just too afraid of losing. And I understand that, but I don't know, you can't just let Karma bully you out of a situation like that. If you are you're the team that picks the champions. You are the team that has the tools to pick an enemy champion. So why are you not doing that? You shouldn't be afraid of Karma stepping up alone. You drop a fucking solar flare on her. Why are we not doing something like that? You put her in the Death Realm. You don't let Karma disrespect you like that. It seems so bizarre here. The Imperials are playing so scared, but I guess they kind of have to be because, you know, Taunty and Jake can appear out of nowhere and instantly obliterate you because they have the movement speed from the On the Hunt and the Monstra Shields and their own innate move speed, so they can get on top of you so quickly. So I guess you do have to kind of respect that move speed, but I don't know, I feel like they're just playing with maybe too much respect and not really thinking of scenarios where they can try and play aggressive, and they're giving up so much kind of for no gain here. Now with a near 6,000 gold lead, the Kittens are looking to secure this Baron. I don't like this. We do have Smite, but that's not saved anyone before.
Death has to be careful, though, as he goes down first. Lizzo's still on the backside, trying to run down Kumi, but the second he hops out of his Death Realm, he's just a sitting duck for the Kittens to prey upon. Swedish Pancakes, oh, the shield. Jake going in, and it's just a matter of time before the Syndra falls once again. The 3-man scout of the week means nothing. And they're going to turn their eyes back towards the Baron. Kittens have just been on a tear this entire game. And, you know, maybe just drafting a bunch of move speed champions works. Maybe if you just run at them, they'll die.
Well, you know, they made the call of they're going to be too scared to do anything. We just run at them. As long as you have the confidence to run at your opponent, you know, they won't be able to react properly. And that is certainly resulting in the Kittens finding everything and more this game, now nearing a 10,000 gold lead in their favor, as the Imperials are kind of left to wonder what possibilities do they have to get back into the game. I will say, the Syndra is not in a horrendous spot. Raikou, also not in a horrendous spot. Their damage dealers are still relatively, you know, in the game, but Vacaution is where Gragas was last game. Just a completely pointless champion. Could be a siege minion, could be slow, bro. And the Mordekaiser has done quite a bit, but it really is just Lizzo trading themselves for another person, and it's starting to get really difficult for Lizzo to even do just that. As we saw Kumi there get put in the Death Realm and just kind of kite back efficiently enough to survive. And I imagine that as long as whoever gets put in the Death Realm can do that, I mean, Lizzo's not winning against Jake or Taunty, so I guess you put maybe Lambo? I don't know. It's rough. Ooh, we do have a stun going into a bullet time there. Cleanse and Flash gonna have to get blown, so Lambo is out of sums.
Yeah, and Kumi
is opting into dying for some reason.
Yeah, that was an insane location to be at right now.
Good night.
Just seeing Tawny run in, kill, and then run out at Mach 10, and then run back in, because he's so fast that he didn't realize he wasn't able to get out of tower range in 0.5 seconds. It's just so funny. Jake flashing back in. Big shield goes down. Gonna use the Stormbringer, and Luzo's gonna pull Giggle into the Death Realm this time. Lambo. They're surrounding him. They have to be careful. Eventually, Giggle will live. Will live because of the Moonstone, and Lambo will be the one that goes down instead.
I think that's... think about the psychic damage that dealt to Lizzo, though. I think that was worth it, personally.
It's so funny to me that no matter who gets put into the Death Realm, Lambo still dies.
Lambo has been dying for the sins of their team this entire series, I think.
It's so funny because it'll be like, Lizzo will legit, like, I have magically acquired Silas Ultimate. All 4 members get put into the Death Realm, and somehow Lambo will still be the one that ends up dead at the end of it all.
It's just like a magnet for punishment. You know, sometimes it's like that when you're AD carry, and I guess, you know, the Sivir is a supportive champion this game. You know. Weakening the enemies for the real carries of Taunty and Jake to just pick up the slack. But man, I gotta say, this top side here, Taunty, Jake, and of course Giggle, this series and this game as well, have all just been, I mean, aside from last game for Taunty, but Giggle playing consistently well this series, Jake playing very well this series. Really delivering here as Lizzo will go into the golden zone, but okay, we got a potential turnaround.
Big bullet time. Jake not going to be able to land that redemption down, and it will be a shutdown going over to Raikou. Now an engage onto Lambo in the mid lane, forced to pop the on hunt as Vacaution tries to run him down. Death looking for more, gonna flash on him. Spell shield just barely avoids the stun, and Tawny can't do anything but laugh. Actually hilarious. Runs Mach 10s out of vision. Vacaution flashes the initial
BFG Lambo's randomly dead.
No matter what happens, there are many constants in the universe. Death, taxes, and Lambo ending up dead through some curse of life.
Some cosmic coincidence. A boulder falls on Lambo. Everything's perfectly fine. You know, they win. They get a perfect clean ace. Suddenly, just a rock falls on Lambo.
Lambo is a Final Destination protagonist.
This is true.
Like, genuinely, no matter how many times he thinks he manages to escape, it's just a steel beam from, like, a transportation. You know what they'll do? He will somehow make it out of, like, an insane, like, pool incident where, like, all the vacuums got turned on and, you know, your shorts get stuck in the vacuum or the vents or something. And then it'll be, like, a supply plane bringing water to a wildfire, and you'll get crushed by the weight of, like, 13 gallons of water dropping on your head. In, like, a karmically cosmic comedy sense.
Yeah.
Once again, Swedish Pancake size, though.
Yeah, Lambo gets crushed by a piano, just falling on his head. You know, Lambo appears. You know, has teeth or the keys. You know, just playing a song right there. Oh my gosh!
I feel so bad, dude. This game has felt more like a Looney Tunes sketch than a game of League of Legends.
I think Caution is absolutely getting bullied this game. Like, I feel like this is a situation where we file a bullying report against against Taunty here, and Lambo is winning the fight in the Death Realm against Lizzo.
Okay,
that is it's over.
We've gotten to the point in the game where Lambo can now 1v1 and the Mordekaiser in Death Realm. I think it's pretty much over. Kumi gonna split off Raikou. Tawny not gonna be able to finish that one off, and through some miracle, no way Swedish gets the kill onto Lambo. Okay. Get the Nexus. Okay, we got, wait,
yep.
okay.
All right, we're done.
Okay, we
did it, folks.
It's so funny because we pan back, I see a low health bar, and I think, oh my god, it'd be so funny if we just had the insane stream bug into Lambo dying again.
That would be great comedy, Lambo. Picking up one more death for the record this week, but yeah, after what was a very rough game too, the Kittens turn it back on and mop the floor with the Imperials here in game 3. It was not particularly close.
No.
There were some situations where, you know, they did find, the Imperials found the bullet time they were looking for and were able to kind of find their way into a fight. But
Vacaution had less damage than the Enchanter Karma.
It was a bit too much to cut through. The Karma, I mean, the Enchanter Karma also had more damage than the Talia, but we don't need to talk about that. I think Giggle might have just been on something this series. Just, you
honestly,
know, something.
I don't know. I feel. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think Kumi played that last game well at all.
No,
that was a sit back. It's like, okay, my job is to land walls and just let Jake and everyone else do whatever the hell they want. My job is to sit there and cut people off. Like, there's nothing else.
And the Weaver's walls were good. I will give him that.
They were quite good.
The Weaver's walls were good. Everything else maybe less so, but you know, it didn't matter because you did your job for the team. Did not throw away more kills than necessary or than, you know, forced errors like that, and set up for the double trouble terror of the 2 melee bruiser carries, amplified by Karma, just going to town. And I think that is kind of what this composition, what we saw that they were going to do, was just go fast at you. Just walk at you very quickly. And what are you going to do about it? The answer is apparently nothing. You can't do anything. Garen is too fast. Volibear is too big. And burning any of your cooldowns on Kumi or Lambo is a wasted effort because they aren't the ones killing your team. So, really just very well executed by the Kittens as a team, that game. Maybe some individually iffy performances, but I think as a team, they played that so well. And I'm definitely very impressed. More impressed with how the Kittens played this series and this game in particular than from the last time we saw them.
Yeah, and overall, I think there's some mistakes. You know, obviously, again, not the cleanest game of all time. but still being able to firmly press that lead. I feel like they were really able to pull off what we expected to see out of them this time, and not have it feel like it was just a fluke or, a one-off. It really feels like Kittens have cemented themselves as a very good team, but still capable of making mistakes. Still very human, but still, as far as the humans go, in a world where, in a league, more specifically, in a division of Ruby, where most people are not human, being human feels like a pretty special case.
Yeah. So with that said, I think we are gonna, being human is impressive in this day and age. With that said, we're gonna be, that's it for tonight, I think. So
We're gonna be humans and go to sleep.
yeah, we're gonna be humans go to sleep. Remember procomps.gg if you want to amp up your gameplay experience, your draft experience. If you want to draft 5 fast move speed champions, procomps.gg can do that. Join the 280,000 players who are already using procomps.gg with the link in the description below or at procomps.gg. Download free. Thank you to procomps.gg, and thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. Thank you to When It Rains, my co-caster, and of course, Shivam, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, for producing tonight. Have a good night, everyone, and we will see you all next week for hopefully a pretty impactful match in terms of playoff seeding. We'll see you then.